welcome back to the Unpatched Gaming Podcast. I'm your host, Tyler.
And I happen to be your host, Zach.
Indeed. I'm very excited for this episode, Zach. I've been waiting for this, like many people, for a long time. Something new in the Pokemon series. And, I wanted to come at this from a very cynical place. But I think this is a very successful first step in a new direction for the series. I'll tell you why I wanted to...
in a larger world.
Indeed. I'll tell you why I was looking to come across to come in with the angle of cynicism after we introduce our new beer.
I can't look at this much longer.
Our new beer this week. In honor of our first, I think this is our first Pokemon episode, right?
It is, yeah.
Maybe only for a long while. I don't know if we'll do this every time there's a Pokemon game out, but last year, Oreo released some Pokemon Oreos. There's Pokemon on them. There's like 20
isn't it like
25?
The most lucrative entertainment property?
I believe so. I think it's, I'm pretty sure.
Pokemon, then like Hello Kitty or something like that.
I don't know if Hello Kitty is that high up.
Mickey Mouse.
It's definitely more so than Mickey Mouse. I think it is number one.
No, I think Hello Kitty.
Oh,
like
really?
4, yeah.
So, yeah, it's probably, I'm going to make this up, but I think the top 4 might be Pokemon, Disney animation, like the Mickey brand, Grand Theft Auto, and
then Winnie
Hello
the
Kitty.
Pooh's super high up there, too. It's really weird. Like, Winnie the Pooh is super high up there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think Grand Theft Auto 5, though, is the number 1.
Yeah, from like an individual...
Yeah.
Like
the highest grossing single piece of entertainment.
Which is
Grand Theft Auto
incredible.
5. More than the entire MCU. At least at the time that report came out, Endgame had not come out yet. Just
still though,
Infinity
that's
War.
A lot of money.
Yeah, than the entire MCU. That's insane. But we have these Pokemon Oreos here and a variety of milks, starting off with a classic whole milk. Whole milk and Oreos. Come on, you were a child once, you know. you know how it goes.
I'm a child now.
This is true.
Not quite that much for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I have some weird stuff about milk where I love it. It just doesn't agree with me very much. So
yeah.
I'll go through it a little slower.
All right. I'm not going to hold this up.
Creamy. Just a hint of.
Just right there on the nose.
Yeah, just a hint of cow udder.
All right, I'm gonna open these. Excuse the crinkle.
Oh, listen.
All right, here we go. Are these single
Pick your
stuffed
starter.
or double stuffed?
These look
16 Pokemon. It says here on the bag. Yeah, something like that.
So
What'd you get first?
My starter is Lapras. Very nice.
Couldn't ask for a better starter. I got Cyndaquil.
Hey!
One of my absolute favorites here. You gotta dunk it.
Yeah,
gotta dunk these. Eat Cyndaquil right here.
Eat him. Oh no! We should not have both eaten this at the same time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Hey everyone.
Your integrity, the integrity of your cookie did not hold up.
Lapras is weak to milk.
Oreos, absolutely delicious. Pokemon, also delicious. Those slowpoke.
Yes.
All right, let's really get started here. So, I've been a fan of Pokemon all my life. Excuse me, got some Cyndaquil stuck in my... it wasn't deboned.
It wasn't deboned. Flambéed.
Who's your Pokemon?
Oh.
You loser?
Just Rowlet.
Oh, yeah, Rowlet's fine. It's a little overrated probably, but Rowlet's fine.
My wife would take incredible offense at that.
I know. So, anyway, been a fan of Pokemon all my life, and I have seen very little evolution in the series until recently. I played all the games up to Emerald. I put many hundreds of hours into Emerald and Silver. I had Silver before Crystal, didn't play much Crystal. But anyway, Emerald was my life for a while, and all my friends, my family, Emerald just really took my sphere by storm. So I played a lot of it, and then I dropped off after that. I never played Gen 4 or on, and I think it was Nick and your wife picked up Sun and Moon,
Yeah.
and then they got you to play as well. So it's like, all right, maybe I'll pick up a Pokemon game. So I picked up Sun and Moon. There goes 300 hours.
Yeah, he put a
I
lot
went
of time.
hard because it was new. You had the 3D, at least for me anyway. The 3D movement, that was fine. It was still fundamentally the same, but there were so many affordances that were new to me, like the they did away with the, is it HMs or TMs?
They did away with
cut, rock slide, stuff like that.
Yeah, they did it with the HMs.
HMs.
Now you just have like services, like Pokemon services that are just a menu option.
Yeah, and I hear Gen 4, that's like the biggest complaint about Gen 4 is that there are so many things where there's so many uses for those all over the world that you really need 2 HM slaves.
And honestly, because of that though, Gen 4, I enjoyed exploring Gen 4 more than I enjoyed exploring any other Pokemon game. Yeah, obviously it wasn't as rewarding as a true game focused on exploration, but because you felt like you were, you had that sacrifice, and I had fun.
Yeah, I would probably enjoy it.
Definitely not good design. Like,
yeah.
I would still say that was a poor design.
I would probably enjoy it more now because going back to those games, I'm just going to do a Nuzlocke challenge.
Yeah.
And that's a whole new framing of the Pokemon formula anyway.
Yeah.
So I would be more okay with that, but
yeah,
just playing it normally, I wouldn't like it at all. So doing away with that in Sun and Moon, I'm pretty sure they were the first ones to do away with it. I don't think X and Y did.
I didn't play Gen 6, so I played Emerald and Diamond. I played the crap out of those games. Those are my 2 Pokemon games. I played
Dratini.
Ooh, Dratini. I played the crap out of those games, and I actually really liked Pokemon Black. I played Pokemon Black 1 quite a bit, but I did not play another Pokemon game until Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. I didn't play Sword or Shield.
You didn't play the first Sun and Moon?
No, I just played Ultra. So yeah, Nick and Amanda played through Sun and Moon, and then I got Ultra Sun, and Amanda got Ultra Moon, and we played through. So,
yeah, I had a lot of fun with it, and at the time I was at a second job at GameStop, and they have, for those that don't know, employees have a sort of rental service. You can just sign out any used game for a couple weeks. I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks, and just bring it back anytime. And I was checking out all of the Pokemon games at the time and taking, everything interesting from those and putting them on my Pokemon bank. So I've got just pages of legendary Pokemon because I missed the, I think it was the 20th anniversary where they were, every month they were giving away a new legendary that you could only get from the older games. They were really hard to get at the time. And just people's interesting starters and stuff like that. And you can, with the nicknames and the way they played, it's a little bit of insight. Sort of like Game Informers. They had an old series Ben Hansen did on Game Informer in which they would go buy used memory cards and just take a little peek.
That's so good.
Yeah, it's really interesting. So I had fun doing that for a while. And anyway, after that, once I'd come down off of the high of a brand new Pokemon game with a lot of really interesting designs. We were just talking about Toucannon. I love Toucannon so much. Anyway, I started to look at the other games, and they were just still pretty fundamentally the same. A lot of affordances for competitive play, bringing a lot of the numbers, which we'll talk about later, a lot of the numbers to the forefront, which still through some contrived ways. Just like renaming your Pokemon, remembering a move, all those things are nonsense. But to some degree, bringing the numbers to the forefront, and I really went hard in that. I was building a competitive team, and then just sort of dropped off. I didn't actually try to go competitive. But once Sword and Shield came out, I was really, really hoping that they would have taken a step forward and made, a competent game. I'm not going to be nice about it. A competent game. And I don't think it really was. It was incredibly easy. Got another one.
Who's that Pokemon? Charmander.
Classic. It was wildly easy. I remember my level 8 starter, a grass starter, whatever the monkey was, level 8, 1 shot, or maybe it was 2 shots. Doesn't matter. Because it wasn't killed by a level 22 Onix because of the the grass rock, the super effective type. So I was not killed by a level 22, and I basically one-shot a level 22. I may have needed one other attack, I can't quite remember, but it had gotten it down to an absolute sliver if I did need that second attack. And that just shows how utterly broken Pokemon is, and has been for a long time. After that, after Sword and Shield, I did my first Nuzlocke run with... what are the Gen 2 remakes? The Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
Yeah.
That really brought me back. Those are difficult games.
Yeah, those are good remakes.
And the super effective moves are still strong, but they're not game breaking like in current Pokemon. And then aside from just the complete brokenness of all the numbers, the game is just not very good. The overworld did not run very well. Online play was slow, and it just shows. Again, I'm not going to be nice about it. I'll talk about Game Freak in a minute. Just a level of incompetence, I think. I think Game Freak is crushed under the weight of Pokemon. That's what I've thought for a long time. Because there's an interview you can find in Game Informer, really an unprecedented interview. They get to go into the Pokemon Company and then into Game Freak and see inside like nobody ever has before. And I think it is in this interview. They're saying that they don't really want to be some big AAA studio. They still have an indie vibe to them. It's a relatively small studio for the size of Pokemon, and they don't want to grow. They don't want to be that big team, and this is the number one entertainment franchise in the world, in history, and I just don't think they can handle it. And then of course we've been asking for a Pokemon game like this, and I didn't believe it, especially after that first trailer. There's no way Game Freak was going to be able to do this, and I was ready to laugh at them. So, all that out of the way, I'm so pleasantly surprised. It's got some shortcomings, which I'll talk about it. Again, I'm not gonna be nice, but it's a legitimately competent game, and
I wanted to play.
30. Yeah, I didn't beat the game. Oh yeah, so Zach almost beat it. Stuck on the last boss.
I got credits. I
okay.
got stuck on the Giratina fight at the end.
Okay.
I
did not beat the game, but not because I didn't play it.
It's 8 Pokemon in a row, and they're all higher level than me. I'd have to go grind.
Yeah.
I got a great team. It's just, it's really frustrating. The new battle format really shows its weakness here in that final battle. Thankfully, it doesn't come up throughout the rest.
Bro, Sableye's in here?
Oh,
hell yeah.
I love Sableye. I remember seeing him
so
for the
cool.
first time in the Gen 3. It's the little cave outside of the second gym. Mm-hmm. And he's down there at the very bottom of the cave. You can find a couple of them, and it's like, what is this guy? And that's back when that type combo had no weaknesses.
Which one is it? Dark Ghost?
Dark Ghost, yeah.
Yeah, Sableye is really cool. Sableye is just not very good until you get into the Mega Evolutions, but those are so isolated to the 3DS that's not really fair. But yeah, Sableye has always been super cool. Gen 3 in general, we both agree is the best. Probably the best.
Yeah.
Gen 2's up there, but Gen 3 is just an absolute knockout. Anyway, what were we just... Oh, yeah, I didn't beat the game.
You played enough.
I played a lot of it because I put 30 hours into it, and I didn't leave it on or anything, which happens a lot. I'll rack up time because I accidentally leave my game on or I fall asleep or something. A straight 30 hours in this game. I was playing it religiously for the past 2 weeks and just having so much fun. I didn't beat the game because I kept going back to every time I got a new form of traversal, I'd go back and explore the other areas, catch new Pokemon, look for the unknowns, which is something I'll talk about in a minute. I'm very happy that they were in there.
Yeah.
But I just had a really fun time with the loop. So that actually is more of a testament. The fact that I didn't beat it because I was so invested just for 30 hours, just going through the loop over and over. So we're going to be coming at it from... he's going to have a little more information about the game, the full game arc. but the inner workings and stuff is something I'm gonna like to focus on. So, what are some of the more interesting new mechanics that were in it for you?
So in terms of like new mechanics, not updates to existing.
Both.
Okay,
both.
so for me, the biggest thing is that the Pokemon's move pool is always at its disposal. So in between
Number
combat,
one, best thing.
and so in between combat, you can swap out the moves that the Pokemon knows. You don't have to go through all this huge hassle of trying to relearn moves. You can have a Pokemon that has 2 functions or 3 functions based on the moves that it has. You know, like
everything
my
it learns is there in the menu.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to anybody else to relearn something. You don't have a list of your TMs to give to Pokemon over and over if you want to make it different.
Best example for me is Drifblim. Drifblim is a HP tank in this game. Go ahead and pour our next milk.
Yes, we have oat milk from Califia Farms. This pretentious ass oat milk right here.
Yeah.
Actually, it looks a lot creamier than HEB.
Is this? Milk. Oh my god! Is this creamer? Is this oat milk creamer?
No.
Is that what this is?
It says barista blend, but
I must not. Okay, no. I was afraid I grabbed my wife's oat milk creamer. I was like, oh no, this is gonna taste interesting.
Oh no, it's oat milk. I don't know why it says barista blend.
Probably just because it's common in coffee shops. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, so my Drifblim, HP bomb, and he gets a move pretty early on called Mystic Fire that is 100%. It's not always hit, but it's 100 accuracy, and every hit lowers offense.
That's very good.
And it's like 70 base damage or something crazy like that. Like, it's a really good move. Now it's not. He doesn't get stab bonus from it because it's fire, but he can use that. Then he has access to the stat switch, so his attack stats are higher than his defense, but you can swap that, and then you can use Calm Mind, and then you can just use Shadow Ball, which has a chance to lower their defense. Like, I mean, and he eats damage, just eats damage, even super effective damage, just eats it. Or I can swap that out and make him a self-destruct Pokemon because of how much health he has.
Yeah,
like he's amazing. He's fantastic.
Self-destruct does damage based on your HP, right?
Yeah, I don't know if it's damage based on your HP, but you can survive self-destruct.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can survive self-destruct. So,
oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's a lot of damage. It's like
of course, it's a lot of damage.
Like
I didn't know you could survive it. Interesting.
Yeah, so like if you can survive it, and it's interesting. Interesting move. I don't know if you can still survive it. I didn't really. I used it as kind of like an end. But the more health you have, the better. Yeah. Anyway, all that to say.
Yeah. The move pool thing, that's number one for me. And the amazing. UI in general, it's a very clean, very competent UI. Just pressing X to swap between your throwable items and your actual Pokemon. Not having to go into a menu when in battle is really nice. I mean, of course, unless you're using items. But even then, they could have put that in a wheel as well. Like your favorites wheel. That you could have put that with the Pokeballs. That would have been nice, just to keep you out of the menu in general. Then of course the agile and strong styles. Those are really good.
2 PP, and then you'll either use the agile because a lot more focus on turn economy now. Yeah. And agile moves will boost your priority. There are some moves that just boost your priority, like Bullet Punch, amazing. I have a Scizor, so he has Bullet Punch, which is 40 damage steel. He has stab, so it's 60 base damage for Scizor, and almost guarantees that he'll get it to be able to go right after using it.
That's really nice.
And so
even without using agile?
Without using agile.
Can you?
If you can.
I have not. Yeah, like stack up to 3 turns.
I've not been able to. 3. I've not been able to, but you can get 2 turns very quickly.
Of course. Like
back to back 2 turns pretty quickly.
Okay.
And yeah, so Bullet Punch, and then either X's or he Scizor. I didn't know this. More recent gens, I guess. Scizor learns Close Combat. Incredible move on him. So yeah, I mean, just really fun stuff.
Scizor's so cool, man.
Yeah, love him. So love him.
The loop here, it really just works. Who'd you get?
Piplup.
Piplup.
We're getting a lot of starters.
Yeah. I think most of the starters are here. Sableye was an interesting one. Yeah. Didn't realize that would be
just
there.
Some one random staff member at Oreos like, guys, no, he's like the best Pokemon. He's like really pushing for it.
the loop here, we got to talk about it. It's such a simple loop. There are Pokemon out in the open world in this,
Oat actually really good with these Oreos.
It's very good in general, actually.
I'm surprised.
We use the H-E-B oat milk. This is probably very expensive, though. He's the kind of person that buys $8 bread.
I'm the kind of person who buys $8 bread as well. So
sure. Yeah, it's really good. I'm quite surprised. My wife uses we only use oat milk because I don't drink milk very often, and it's not good by itself. Like if I wanted it with cookies or something, like it's only good in cereal or with cereal.
Oh, it's so good with cereal.
But yeah,
it's good in cold brew too. Oat milk and cold brew is really good. My wife turned me on to that.
I'm probably gonna buy this now. Anyway, Pokemon out in the open world, of course, and you're throwing berries at them, throwing Pokeballs at them, or throwing your Pokemon at them to engage in battle.
Yeah, it's this nice little. You are throwing. That is the action, but it accomplishes multiple. It's how you interact with these Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's how, it accomplishes multiple tasks.
Throw is the number one thing you're doing,
and it's really satisfying to have something that's simple. And obviously, with how frequently you can throw out Pokeballs, how much you don't have to weaken Pokemon typically, unless they're like a big alpha or something. Like you don't have to paralyze them and like work on trying to catch them. So you can catch a lot more, and you can use that to fill up because the Pokédex now has. To truly complete an entry, you can't just catch the Pokemon. You have to. Well, who'd you get?
Pikachu.
You have to, perform a couple tasks to truly complete the entry, which is interesting. I think that does when you're going and catching legendaries at the end of the game, and you're just basically just going into battle, throwing 2 Ultra Balls and catching them. Really unexciting. Like, that's a huge detriment.
Yeah, I didn't make it that far. I didn't catch any legendaries.
It's very bland to catch a legendary in this game.
That's unfortunate. And are there multiple copies of the same legendary?
No.
Okay. So their dex is automatically filled, or do you have to do things with them before you catch them?
You have to do things with them at, like, because this moves you can...
Oh, yeah, you can just go into battle with them. That's right.
But, like, one of them actually was really hard to catch. It was my favorite one, because it actually ended up being difficult. It was Cresselia. And... took me a while, but the fight was so long that her Pokédex entry was complete by the time that I finally caught her because she had used so many moves. Yeah, there are some Pokemon that I would just grind in one encounter. I would throw berries at it. I would scare it. It would be at night. I would engage in battle, and I would let it continue to hit me. And by the time I caught it, it was like 5 minutes of play, but by the time I caught it, it was complete.
It was completed. Yeah. Which actually I thought was very fun. I
agree. I like that quite a bit.
With one action, you can complete 3 of the tasks. Like, throw a berry, catch it without being seen, and do it at night.
And catch it.
And just generally catch it.
Yeah.
So 4 you can.
And then there's battle requirements. See it use a strong move. Watch it use its signature move.
Yeah. Or use a weakness on it.
Evolve it. Something like that.
Lots of different things.
And really quick though, I mean, I kind of crap on the way that it ruined catching legendaries for me. I remember, like, as a kid, Articuno is at 1 health, and I have it paralyzed in Fire Red, and I still have to throw like 12 Ultra Balls and like survive. It's like a gauntlet. It's really rewarding. But in in this, even though it does ruin the legendary encounters, it is perfect for just running around, messing with Pokemon, trying to catch them. It's much more conducive to the gotta catch them all phrase.
Absolutely.
And they really succeeded there.
When I'm just swimming around a lake, having fun, catching 30 Magikarp, you've done something right.
You've done something right.
I didn't realize...
The Dark Fisherman.
Yeah, I didn't realize until much later that you can jump and throw a Pokeball, and it slows down time so you can actually aim it. Because I was just trying to throw it while I was swimming.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, so they're very hard to catch when you're swimming, right?
Yes.
Yeah. If you throw your Pokeball while you jump in the air, it's like, a perk in any game where you slow down time when you pull your bow. It's that thing.
What?
Yeah.
I feel like I read that, and I just ignored it. Like, because I
definitely didn't read it.
Okay.
Because I missed it as well. I accidentally did it.
That would have changed everything. Trying to catch those stupid Basquelions.
Yeah.
It was awful.
Yeah, it was very difficult. But you've definitely done something right here if you can get me to enjoy catching 30 Magikarp.
Oh yeah.
So the loop, it's a lot of fun. It's very samey, but I did it for 30 hours, and unfortunately, I can't. Gotta move on to the next game.
Which is gonna be great.
Yes, very excited. But who'd you get just now?
Pancham.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that was an interesting choice.
Yeah, maybe we'll get a Mew.
Ooh.
Mew is one of the 16.
I remember I had not a Mew, but I drew from a pack, like a booster pack of Pokemon cards, a Celebi. That was like one of my favorite moments.
One of my favorite memories, but also it's a complete trash memory. I grew up in a pretty poor family, and for a while we were moving around. I've moved around a lot, but we moved to some family's house in Nebraska, then to my grandparents' house in Washington for a little while, and then we finally came here to Texas when I was like 9 or 11, somewhere in that range, and lived with my my aunt and uncle for 6 or 7 months as we got settled. Didn't have a lot of money. My mom smoked a couple packs a day. She went to the store. We didn't have much money. She just walked to the corner store, and she decided on a whim, instead of getting a pack of cigarettes, she'd pick up one pack of cards for me. It was when gold and silver were out. She brought back this, without cigarettes. She brought back this pack of Pokemon cards for me. Everyone was around. I remember there was a Meganium on the front, like that was the Pokemon on the pack. I remember this so well. God, I hate myself. But anyway, I open it and all my cousins are around. Oh, what'd you get? What'd you get? Holographic Lugia.
Oh,
the crowd goes wild.
Yeah.
All the parents come in. What's wrong? We got a Lugia.
It's incredible.
And I was homeschooled for most of my life. And so I was there by myself while my cousins were away. Just hang out in the neighborhood and sort of walk around by myself. Didn't have much to do. I was walking around looking at my Pokemon cards. And some assholes, the high school students, looked at this little kid with a binder of cards. Hey, what you got over there, man? What you got? I just drew a holographic Lugia. Give you 350 cards for that Lugia. And just a box of energies and trainers and, common cards. And everyone just hated me. Everyone hated me when they got home and like, look at the shoebox of cards I got, guys. I traded my Lugia away like an idiot.
It's the harshest lessons, really. In childhood.
It was a good lesson, though. I became a swindler after that. I would wheel and deal and sell everything I had, trade everything. And I got what I wanted as a kid because I'd get something, trade it, sell it, and, I'd just trade up for things. Because I learned. I learned a lesson. I'd never rip anybody off. Because I also learned that lesson. It really sucks. I did trade, I think, close to 300 fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards for a DS once, but I made it very clear to the person, these are fake. These are not real Yu-Gi-Oh cards. You can play with them. Like, no one in my neighborhood cared. But yeah, he gave me a DS and a couple games for this box of fake Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Anyhow.
Guys, don't play games with Tyler.
Yeah.
that's what you should take away from this.
Anyhow, the loop. It's a good one. Some more interesting mechanics. Actually, I'm going to talk about that one later. The grit dust.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to talk about that. One of the... I didn't read the story. Did you pay attention to the story?
What story? What are you talking about?
Good call. I think I read 2 text boxes in this game. Guys, listen. If you've been listening to us for a while, excuse me, you'll understand Zach and I, we really like narrative-focused games. However, when the narrative is obviously there as like a mandatory thing to facilitate the gameplay, we don't care. We're going to skip it.
Because you even mentioned, actually, I don't think you brought it up on the cast, but you talked to me with One Step from Eden when it just threw you in no context. Like, it was jarring.
Yeah,
like,
some things need... Most things need a little bit of context.
And it's funny that what that context will do. Like, even in, like, a board game, something you'd think is abstract
That's the biggest
enough,
thing. No, the theme of a board game not only pulls people in initially on the shelf, but should sell you the idea of the
like
mechanic.
the story of it, and like you are motivated by it in a weird way. Like, and so I agree. There is even in a silly, just absent narrative. I think I see that. Now, I do think Pokemon should have focused quite a bit less on its
Yeah,
potato
they've been
mochi.
getting they have been
Ugh.
getting really nonsensical with the story.
Ham-fisted.
Yeah, it's like, just stop. Who's paying attention to any of this?
So
Who of you out there plays a Pokemon game for the story?
unless I've heard people, I've not played that since I was young, but Black and White, and Black 2 and White 2. I hear people actually really enjoy those narratives.
I have heard that.
So
I have not played.
we will allow that because we haven't had the time to judge it ourselves. But typically, if you're playing Pokemon for the story, you are a person that I want to buy beer for and talk to you and try to help you. But like, no, I do think that you're an interesting person.
So I skipped.
I
every
hope there's
line
just
of
some guy
dialogue.
on YouTube who is like deep dive, like Moby Dick levels of analysis into
Like, who's that?
the Pokemon narratives.
The Dark Souls lore guy.
Or like Vati Vidya,
Yeah.
but for like
but for Pokemon.
Vaporeon Vidya.
Well, I mean, I guess that would be Matt Pat.
Yeah,
his videos.
But like someone who's not ironic about it.
Yeah.
Like someone who's really, because really genuine about it.
He did a really interesting video a couple months ago about how old Ash should be.
Oh, that's funny.
Just dove into all of the Pokemon animated series and referenced any time that, or took note of any time they referenced a span of time. And he should be like in his 30s now. But he
Incredible.
is still 11 or whatever age he is. He's not aged. And they'll even reference his time from like season 1 or something. They'll reference it in season 4 or 5 and how that's been a couple years.
He's just in purgatory. That's what it is.
That's
He's
it.
just
Yeah, he's in a
purgatory.
coma. That's it.
Anyway.
I don't care about the story at all in this game. No. However, the contextualization of some of the things from Pokemon's history, I really enjoyed actually. The biggest one being the main conceit for the game, but smaller things like the unknowns, just that those are a brand new force that were eventually locked away, like in Pokemon the movie 3,
with Entei.
or Pokemon 3 the movie, whatever it was. I want to go back and watch this.
I really liked the first 3.
The first one is surprisingly good.
The first one I have rewatched more recently.
I think I
liked
watched it
quite a
like
bit.
4 years ago or something.
Like it's good. I like it.
still pretty
A
good.
little heartfelt.
Oh,
like,
of
at the end.
course,
It's
when
fantastic.
Pikachu is just taking it, just passive Pikachu is just there taking it while evil Pikachu's just pounding his face in.
Yeah. And Mewtwo's like birth scene is honestly
So
really
cool.
well done. Like that is a good piece of animation.
Yes. Anyway, the contextualization for the unknowns, I really liked this. I don't know if you found the little village and talked to someone that was trying to figure out why Psyducks had a headache.
Yes, I
Like,
did.
it's just common knowledge now. We all accept it. We don't care that Psyducks have headaches. But, like, trying to figure out why these poor ducks are all just riddled with anxiety.
it's incredible.
I really appreciated that. The first, Team Bandit sort of group
Painful.
that used Gengar's shadows to move. I like
cool.
that.
Yeah. They were pretty insufferable.
Yeah. Then there were some mechanical things like no rare candies, which
There are
were
rare
replaced.
candies.
Oh, you do eventually get rare
Absolutely, yeah.
candy? Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
and there are experience, boosters as well. Like for
Oh,
beating
I
Alpha
didn't get
Pokemon.
any
It's
of
like
those.
EXP boost L, M, and S, and then
Yeah, plenty of the EXP boosts. That makes sense.
and then there are rare candies though. Yeah.
Oh, I never found the rare candies.
Yeah. They're a rare drop. I think I only found 3 in the whole time I played.
Oh, okay. Matt Pat has a video on what those might be.
What-
Matt Pat has some weird and
What is
very
his
interesting.
conclusion?
They're Pokemon.
That's amazing.
They are ground up Pokemon. There's a bunch of references throughout the games. Like one of the gym leaders in the electric gym leader. What is it like? I don't something Surge. But anyway, the electric gym
Lieutenant
leader,
Surge?
yeah, that's it. He's a military man, and there are some references to some sort of war throughout the Pokemon series, and Matt Pat videos, the game theory videos, they get outlandish.
Oh, it's purely ironic.
But some of that stuff, like, once you start to think about it and he pieces everything together, you're like, no, that's it. There's no other way.
There's no other way.
There was a war.
I love his like
for
videos
Pokemon.
on like the height of Mario. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like, it's incredible.
Those are very silly. Then there's no daycares. So that kind of makes sense because they don't know anything about Pokemon. And I really like that people didn't know about Pokemon. They're like,
And
a
it's-
Wurmple. Can you go get me a Wurmple? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
That stuff
I
was
like it. They're afraid
interesting.
of Pokemon too. Like
Yeah.
One thing that I initially was like, oh
I'm
come
gonna
on,
have
what the
another
heck?
one here.
What the heck? What you got? What do you got? Who's that Pokemon?
Grookey.
Grookey.
I hate those Pokemon so much.
I know you do. I do too.
Those
But
last starters, guys.
I was initially kind of bummed that there was no daycare, at least like even a replacement daycare system. But then I was like, you can catch Pokemon so quickly and easily. Like it's more convenient than breeding.
Just a minute. I agree with you, but I also wish there was an alternative.
No, me too. I
Because
like the system.
Most Pokemon you catch are going to be 20 and above, the levels. Most Pokemon you use are going to be 20 and above. Of course, the first two areas have exceptions, but the majority of them are already pretty well leveled. And it's bizarre that, at least in the first 4 areas, I was in the first 4 areas, the only place I found a Togepi was level 30 to 35.
Yeah, that's right.
Why is Togepi level 35? That's nonsense.
It's a totally baller Togepi.
Yeah, but Togepi is the egg Pokemon. It is a fresh little baby. It should be level 1. I want to train up my Togepi from level 1.
I get it. I just think I get why they didn't bother with the system based on how easy it is to go catch Pokemon.
Yes, but I wish there was an alternative.
Have you so one of the other things that I like is evolution now is a menu command.
Oh yeah,
So like
that's
instead of
great.
having to hit B every time if you want to like get your Growlithe to learn more moves or whatever, which doesn't matter anymore, obviously for this, but you know, in the older games you had to hit B to stop the Pokemon from evolving every level, you know, every single level. And or like, you know, if your Eevee's at max happiness and it's ready to evolve, but you don't want it to be a Sylveon, you remove the fairy move and evolve it at night or day whenever you're ready. You know, like it's just it strips away some of that frustration. Like the mystery's gone now. We know how Pokemon work.
Yes.
Make it easy so that we don't have to deal with it. Which is unfortunate to say. You know, I remember accidentally evolving, you know, a happiness Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's like what's happening? What's going on? What? Like just like, you know, it's really it's amazing. My Umbreon was just my baby. You know, I loved that, but it's still top 5 Pokemon for me.
Both of those
Yeah.
forms are the
Incredible.
best Eevee
This is my
forms.
first time I used a Sylveon, actually.
Really?
It's really strong.
I don't think I've ever used an Eevee form. No, Espeon. I used Espeon.
Yeah, I've used Umbreon, Leafeon, and Leafeon. Come on, guys.
Sure.
Come on.
They
At
like
least, like, the
Glaceon.
Ice-
Yeah,
Glaceon's
Glaceon's
cool. Like it's not like Iceon. Like
Yeah.
you know, it's Ghosteon. Like you know, it's just does like.
Well, what
guys, what is it? Leafeon.
What would be a good one? Some alternative.
Flareon.
Oh sure, that's super close to Flareon though.
Sure, but I mean,
Very
they're
close.
But there's evolutions from the same thing. Like it would make sense to kind of
Yeah,
match that language.
Flareon's good. Something incorporating autumn or spring.
Oh, maybe. Yeah.
That might be interesting. Ooh, an Eevee that is dependent on weather, like that. I forget what it's called.
Oh, that'd be cool.
From Gen 3.
Oh, like when it's like a full moon or something, and you get a ghost Eevee or something.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Anyhow, Eevee, and then of course we already mentioned the Pokedex. Just putting it's the first ever Pokedex. Putting that entirely into context, that's all really interesting. What was your team throughout the game?
So
Let's get a new milk real quick.
Yeah.
Why'd you do this?
Because I love you. I love you so much.
This is Mainberg goat milk.
There's a yeah. This is what.
All right, hold on.
I've been reading the Wheel of Time, and there's a character who's pregnant and is basically forced to drink goat's milk because she's pregnant, and that's just what you're supposed to drink apparently in this universe. And now I just hate hearing about goat's milk because it's some of the most boring chapters in this book are about this.
Do I
this
need to
character.
like shake this? Or
It says
something?
shake well.
It does say shake well right there.
I mean, it's already goat's milk. Like, don't fail to do what the instructions say. God forbid.
Zach, I'm so scared. I already hate goat cheese.
You hate goat cheese. That's right. That's a shame. Goat cheese is one of my favorite things.
No, I like it with things, but if it's just goat cheese on the cracker, just straight up goat cheese, hate it.
No, dude, like a tart. Like, I love it.
With things like an herbed goat cheese, or if there's some sort of chutney with it, like the diner I used to work for used to serve a peach pepper chutney with deep fried goat cheese nuggets. That was delicious.
Sure, it was.
I poured myself way too much. You have to drink all this.
Oh my gosh, why did you pour it all? I actually can't remember the last time I've had goat cheese. Or goat milk.
I've never had goat milk. I'm glad I can't smell it.
No, it's great. It tastes great.
Does it smell
No,
funky, sour? I got COVID a few months ago and I can't smell anything.
No, doesn't smell. It actually has a very neutral smell.
It's nothing like goat cheese.
Yeah, this is pretty nice. Actually, I have not had.
That's very drinkable. This is not goat cheese.
Yeah, so like for me, goat's milk.
I was expecting just liquid, funky goat cheese.
I think of like the farm, that my dad grew up on, like going visiting there and having.
I'm very surprised by this.
This is nice. I got a Cyndaquil.
Cyndaquil.
He's gonna
very nice.
He's gonna get his.
Which was a good segue, actually.
Yeah, into Pokemon here. Let me
you go ahead. And I got a Squirtle for my next one. This is disgusting. Look at this. It looks like a Gengar's eyes are popping out.
That is really terrifying. It's like a Trico Squirtle.
Ew. Yeah, that's bizarre.
My team. So my starter was Typhlosion, who I actually ended up dropping, after getting credits for an Alpha Ninetales that I got.
Mm-hmm.
So. I had too many ghosts already. So my top two, the ones that carried me the most, Drifblim. I already told you, my Drifblim, he could take on anything. He's a beautiful baby boy.
Beautiful baby boy.
I love him. Honchkrow. So Ghost Flying and Dark Flying. And then I had Magnezone. There's basically a Magnezone flying up around the ruins of the temple, and he's just flying up there. I was like, I guess I can. This is one of my favorite moments in the whole game. I was like, I guess I'll just try to catch him. You have these Pokeballs that fly just straight, really fast. So I threw two. He didn't get caught by the first one, but he got caught by the second one. I got a Magnezone. Like, didn't have to evolve. Like, it was fantastic. I've never used a Magnezone. This boy is insane.
Tank.
And dude, so he's steel, right? So he has a lot of the defensive, stuff going on. Special attack is insane. Mm-hmm. And so out of the box, like I caught him, he knew Thunderbolt, Flash Cannon, Tri-Attack, and Thunderwave. And I never changed a single move. Like, even when I got Thunder, because it misses so often, it's like 80 base damage for Steel, Thunder, and Normal. And the normal one has a chance of inflicting Burn, Freeze, or Paralysis. It's disgusting. He's amazing.
Yeah.
So he and Drifblim did most of the heavy lifting. And then I had, obviously, I switched out Typhlosion for let's say Flareon, for Ninetales. And then Sylveon for my fairy. And the, why am I blinking? I can't remember my last one right now off the top of my head. I don't know.
Okay.
Don't know why it's gone.
I hate myself. So, since I came back to Pokemon with Sun and Moon, I have intentionally tried to use Pokemon that I typically wouldn't as a kid. I played Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and I think I played through Emerald twice. Crazy. I used Torchic for most of those plays, and just because Blaziken's so cool.
Caesar.
Not anymore. Oh, Caesar, that's right, that's right. Not so much anymore. Like, as a kid, Typhlosion was my favorite Gen 2 starter. Not anymore. As an adult that still plays Pokemon, Meganium.
Oh, me too.
Every day. Meganium. 100%. And Swampert. Swampert's so cool. Anyhow, I've tried to use Pokemon that I typically would not, and I never use Legendaries. I've not used Legendaries in any game I've played since I've been back to Pokemon. And I really don't like any of the Gen 5 starters. If I had to choose one, it would be the Snake Superior, but I don't like Emboar and Samurott. But for that reason, that I would never choose Samurott otherwise, I chose him here, just trying to get out of, sort of my comfort zone. Nope, still hate him. Don't like him at all. As soon as I saw
I like his signature move, though, the one that he gets when he's the third evolution. That
which one's
dark
that?
one. The dark one that, like, leaves spikes, basically. It's like a 80 base damage dark move that leaves spikes.
I guess I never equipped it, because I dropped him.
Yeah.
I didn't...
It's definitely a fantastic signature move. Like, really good.
As soon as I saw that you could get Turtwig, that's my boy. I leveled everything
Torterra.
up to 10.
Torterra.
All of his stuff and got Torterra.
I think Torterra may be my favorite starter. I'm not sure. He's
way up there. I like pretty much all the grass starters except for the last one. Decidueye is one of...
You hate.
Oh, yeah, Chestnut. I hate Chestnut.
It's
so
the worst
much.
starter. We both agree it's the worst starter is Chestnut.
No, I think the worst starter is probably, and you disagree with me completely, is probably Incineroar. I hate Incineroar so much.
I think Incineroar is fine, especially compared to Chestnut.
Yeah, I'd rather have Chestnut.
That's disgusting.
Like, Chestnut looks like something, even though I don't like the design, something that belongs in Pokemon. It's not a Looney Tunes character. It's a freaking Looney Tunes character. It's not even trying to not be Looney Tunes. The entire art style is just a Looney Tunes wrestler. It's crazy to me. But anyway...
You're just jealous because Incineroar is the best.
I love that Incineroar is in Smash.
Oh, of course.
It's perfect.
Yeah, of course.
He's so perfect.
Yeah, he's perfect for Smash.
But...
Which is more testament to why he maybe shouldn't be in Pokemon.
Yeah. Anyhow, I dropped Oshawott. I mean, I did level it up all the way. I dropped it pretty quick, though. I used the bird, leveled it up all the way for a while. What is the bird?
Which one?
In the first area.
Oh, the Starly?
Yeah, I used Starly for a while. But the ones that really stuck with me, and I'm still using Rapidash. I'd never used a Ponyta before, and you get one in the first area. So I leveled it up to 42. That is way too high of a level for Rapidash. But use Rapidash. It has been carrying me through the game. It's a very good Pokemon. One of my absolute favorite Pokemon is Parasect. And, well, both of them. I like... what's it called? Shoot. What's the first form of Parasect?
Paris?
Yeah, Paris. Anyway, I like them a lot. It is literally Cordyceps. Not the bug, the little crab thing. The mushroom is the Pokemon. And, I mean, it even says if you remove the mushroom, the bug dies. It's referring to the mushroom as the living entity. It is actual Cordyceps. Which, what is it about Cordyceps? So that's Gen 1 Pokemon in the 90s. And then Toads in Mario have basically succumbed to some sort of Cordyceps. In the first manual, it talks about the mushroom on their head controlling them. That's bizarre. That's
Nintendo
basically,
likes Cordyceps.
Yeah, that's basically The Last of Us before The Last of Us.
The Last of Us, a.k.a. Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, basically. Oh my god, I'd love to see this. Can someone please, render this in Unity or something?
Yeah, it's just like...
Unreal 5?
Yeah, it's just, you have, Ellie, clamoring over this, hilltop.
Yeah,
bloody...
but Ellie, I want Ellie to be Princess Peach.
But no, that's what I was going to say. She clambers over this hilltop, being chased, and as she turns, bullets empty, to face her doom, this fat plumber lands on top of one of these clickers, and it's just Mario.
Yes.
Wahoo.
But the clickers are toads.
Just toads.
Oh, I want to see this so bad. Anyway, Parasect, not a good Pokemon at all. but I used him anyway just because I love him. And I go really.
I love poison typing though. I love the poison type.
Yes.
Like I've never used
Definitely.
Arbok. I really want to use Arbok.
See, this goes back to me trying to use Pokemon I wouldn't normally use. In that Nuzlocke run I mentioned earlier in Soul Silver, he was my best Pokemon. Far and away my best Pokemon. He's surprisingly good.
You know,
and he one-shot, even in those games, which are harder, much more balanced, the older games that is, the super effective typing is not crazy broken. He one-shot the entire Ghost Gym.
That's beautiful.
It was so good.
I love this is like the dawn of me understanding that there was strategy to Pokemon. It took me a while as a kid.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, but once I realized I had a Steelix, and I gave him
Pikachu.
Toxic.
Okay.
I gave him Toxic because it's a TM, and Steelix has insanely high defense, and can even outlive super effective moves, like especially if you're boosting his defense or lowering the enemy's attack. And if you put Toxic on them, he's got huge survivability, and he does big damage with like Iron Tail or something. But Toxic, just a little more damage every single turn it lasts, right? So he's outliving everything.
I'd love to give Toxic. I wonder if you can give Toxic to a Shuckle.
That would be disgusting, I'm sure.
Broken as hell.
Yeah, you can't pierce that Shuckle.
Yeah,
I love that he can't evolve. He's just Shuckle.
Yeah, I love Shuckle.
Yeah.
I got a soft spot for Shuckle. Anyhow, who else? I went really hard in the grass type. Again, not playing Gen 4. You're a weirdo.
Yeah.
You're a weirdo. And I've always liked Tangela, so I use Tangrowth.
Oh yeah, God bless Gen 4.
I use the Lilligant, the Hisuian form of Lilligant. I also like poison typing, so I used Toxicroak, which I think is a pretty cool Pokemon. Not very good though, unfortunately. And who else? Oh, surprisingly, like my best early Pokemon, I did eventually swap it out, but Mime Jr. eventually into Mr. Mime was very, very
I
good.
had no idea that Mr. Mime was now Fairy type, Fairy Psychic. So that makes me more keen on using him, probably.
Yeah, he's just a weird. And then he's one of the only Pokemon that I saw that reacts to you other than just becoming hostile. Like
he like does the miming.
Yeah,
thing.
he puts up the mirror
reflect.
wall, the reflect. That's right. Like he's not angry. Like he doesn't get angered and try to attack you. He just puts up mirror wall and is like having a good time. He'll walk away.
He's so creepy.
Yeah, but
you know who my favorite? You brought it up. Do you know who my favorite defensive Pokemon is? Is Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet with Light Split Green and Reflect is. I hated fighting him, but when you get one,
I'd like to build a tanky defensive team.
Yeah, because then he gets revenge too, which you just whap hit him like.
Man, I want to do another Nuzlocke. That was actually quite fun.
Nuzlocks are fantastic. I did it on Leaf Green.
I think I'm gonna this year play the Gen 3 remakes because those are my favorite games, and then I never went back. I mean, the original Gen 3, never played the remakes, and I really like. Yeah, I played a little bit because again, I was taking all those games from GameStop. I really like that middle ground before they went full 3D. It's now an 8-way grid rather than just the 4-way grid of all the Game Boy games and the first DS games. But with X and Y and then Oreos, it's like almost 3D movement, but not quite, and still feels very much like a traditional Pokemon game. I really like that middle ground, so I think Oreos is going to be my favorite. Even more so than Emerald. I think when I play those again, they'll be hands down my favorite.
I don't know. We'll see. I played them. I liked them, but I still prefer Emerald, and partially for nostalgia. But I think the best Pokemon game is Heart Gold and Soul Silver. I think those are the best Pokemon games.
I have always thought that, but going back to play them, after hearing a bunch of criticism about them from contrarians on YouTube, I agree. Gen 2 has a really hard time coming into its own we don't really remember it this way. I don't know when the last time you played them, but I played it very recently. You're pretty much only catching Gen 1 almost up to the end of the game. You don't catch any meaningful Gen 2 Pokemon for a very, very long time. And then there's not even that. There's like 101. There's very few Gen 1 or Gen 2 Pokemon, actually. Yeah. It's basically just more Gen 1.
Well, yeah, I consider it, like, when I play it, what I love about it is I feel like it's the fulfillment of, like, this is the way that you're supposed to play Gen 1. It's like a Redux or a full, like, but it's a full game on its own. Like, I think the pacing of the game, the having both areas and the way that's metered out, the way that it challenges your team composition, and then, of course, culminating in the final fight with Red. It's just... I remember fighting Red on top of that mountain.
Of course.
Oh, it just hits. It just lands so well.
It's really, really awesome. I will give you that. And yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. If you were to... You know, when I eventually, maybe one day, share Pokemon with my kids, if they ever want to look back on Pokemon, I'd share those ones instead of the original Gold, Silver, or
yeah, of course,
Red and Blue. It's almost unplayable these days.
Yeah,
if you were to remove Red, Blue, Yellow from the context and just have Gen 2, that's an interesting way to look at it. I'd agree with you there then, with that caveat. But it is, it's a lot of Gen 1 for the, nothing from Gen 2 is usable.
Is Houndoom Gen 2?
Yeah.
I love Houndoom.
He's so fucking
He's amazing.
He's incredible.
I love him so much. And I just love dark types.
Yeah.
Dark types are so awesome. We talked about, like, pretty much every dark type added in Gen 3 is the coolest. Like, Crawdaunt, Cacturn. You know, I love these guys. They're fantastic.
Crawdaunt's dark? Dark water?
Yeah, he's dark water. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong, awesome. but I know that he's one of the ones used by the dark type Elite Four guy, the first one you fight. So
okay,
I'm pretty sure because he uses Cacturn, Surfdy, Sharpedo, Shiftry, yeah, Sharpedo, Crawdaunt, and something else. Why do I remember? I've not played Gen 3 for years.
Because they're the best. They left such an impression.
Yeah, they're amazing. They're so good. And I fought those guys so many times because the first time I beat them when I was a kid, I just went and caught Rayquaza and then just, like, outraged my way through the entire...
You know what I hate that I know? And you know, I don't know everything. But many Pokemon I can look at and guess when they evolve. Because there's a standardization to it.
Me too, absolutely.
And you can just look at a kind of Pokemon. Oh, that's level 14. That's
yeah. And then, you know, the
but then there's weird ones like freaking Rapidash.
Yeah,
42.
Or like freaking Rufflet to Braviary is like 55. It's just wrong.
Yeah, that's really crazy.
Yeah, some of them are like any of the ones that have two forms and evolve level 50 something. I just
oh, the three-headed dragon, the like dark dragon. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, it's almost level 60, isn't it?
Yeah, that's really high up there.
Hydreigon.
Yeah, but that's a pseudo legendary.
Yeah,
right?
he's Gen 5 pseudo legendary.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's really fun though. I like him quite a bit. I just like dark typing. Like Tyranitar is my favorite Pokemon. Probably, I love him so much.
Oh, back to Gen 2, like they're not being Gen 2 Pokemon. Ursaring isn't even until a few, no, not just Ursaring, the Teddiursa is not till like a few routes into Kanto.
That's
when you go back to, he's not in Johto.
Oh, that'd be so nice to have him in, like, the base. Oh, the Ursa is so awesome. Ursaring.
Yeah. Though you do get, very early on, so, you know, this is an exception to that rule, you get Mareep pretty early on.
Oh, I love Ampharos.
Well, I guess it's probably a little more than a third of the way through.
No, because I'm pretty sure it's Gem 7 or 8 where you get Mareep, right?
No, I think you do get Mareep early on, and then you start to see Flaffy.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't know why I remember this. You get both Flaffy and Giraffig on the route between the town and the lake.
Oh, I wish Giraffig was better.
Yeah, it's so interesting.
Isn't it Psychic Dark or something?
I don't care.
Really interesting.
I don't care what it is. I want to use it.
Yeah,
Giraffig's crazy.
Don't you get Natu in Johto though? Natu and Xatu. I think you get them in Johto. I don't
probably
think in Kanto.
Probably.
To get them.
And then you get the grass, the Hoppip, whatever that is.
Oh
It's
yeah,
like the
that
cotton
one's weird.
balls.
That one's weird.
Yeah. You get what's the newt? What is that called? It's like the little blue water Pokemon that has the like weird. They look like antlers. Anyway, all right. Enough about Gen 2 though. Those are our teams.
Yeah.
So
We've been talking a lot about just Pokemon.
yeah,
We
just
have a
Pokemon
good
in general.
history.
Yeah,
We have a good
it's
history with
fun.
it.
Listen, I enjoy
Yeah,
Pokemon.
we just like anyone else.
I
We just want something new. We just want something
and
new.
something good.
Yeah, like high quality.
And that's the biggest thing, dude.
Yeah, quality.
Oh my god, Sword and Shield, an absolute joke. What do you got?
Piplup again. Oh, this one's like Piplup's a little creamy. Gosh, like
Just-
he's using Surf.
wow, are we gonna eat all these freaking Oreos?
Maybe, I don't know. We'll be able to go back because we name all the Pokemon. We'll be able to give a Oreo count for like it's just the final Oreo count.
I pretty much hated Sword and Shield. There were some cool Pokemon. I absolutely love the Galalian. Is that what it's called?
You're talking. I didn't play Sword and Shield.
Yeah, the Sword and Shield version of Weezing. I thought that the like oil baron Pokemon, just so cool. And then of course one of the smarter designs I think in all of Pokemon is the let's say Galalian. I forget the name. Form of
Corsola?
Corsola. Well, Corsola's evolution into Cursula. Corsola is first white already. She has a new look, but then evolves into a ghost water type, which it's sad, but makes so much sense. It's perfect. I really like that about it, but the starters were all garbage. They're just excuses for furry hentai. That's all they are. And I don't like their designs. The online play was pretty rough. We already talked about it. It's rough around all the edges, and I'll say it every time, and I'm about to say it here. The animations. Can you please animate? Excuse me. The Pokemon. It's nonsense to me that Toxicroak. This is absurd. Toxicroak. If you don't know it, look it up. It's a frog that's in like a fighting jujitsu stance, and it has these poisonous barbs that come out of its skin, its wrists, like that female Wolverine. I forget her name.
X-23.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, you're talking about the boys? That chick?
Well, isn't there like a version of that in X-Men?
I don't know. I'm just the X-23 from the movie had the
Oh
claws.
no. Anyway, Toxicroak has a poisonous knife coming out of either of its wrists. It's a poison fighting type Pokemon. It knows Poison Jab. Immediately you know what the animation should be. You should stab the Pokemon with your poisonous knives for Poison Jab. Toxicroak's physical attack animation, runs up and does a stupid little low kick. Doesn't use its knives for something like Poison Jab. That's stupid. It's not, it could be better. No, it's dumb. Do better. See, see, here we go. I'm getting angry because it could be so good, and they just don't want to grow their team.
They've dug themselves into quite the pit because
1,000 Pokemon at this
1,000
point.
Pokemon. Like you're not gonna make a unique animation for all of them.
No, but it's so sad. I
But
really
no,
do
you're right.
think
They should have his physical attack should have just been running up and using the barb.
Yeah, and maybe there is an attack that does that, but stuff for Poison Jab, no, it absolutely needs to stab with his poison knives.
Tentacruel is so awesome.
Interesting
I like
direction.
Tentacruel
Yes,
quite a bit.
Tentacruel is really cool.
Just thinking about that because the poison jab on Tentacruel is broke. He's so good.
And I think there is a pretty simple solution. Sure, you might have to do more work in making new animations for Pokemon, but suck it up. You freaking make Pokemon. Do the work. I really think an easy workaround, easy in that like it would be easy to implement, like doing the work for 1,000 Pokemon. I get it. It's an undertaking. But for every poison jab, low kick, assign a feet tag, a arm tag, whatever it is, and then do a feet tag animation for a Pokemon. Even if it doesn't use typically a kicking kind of move, still apply an animation that would work if a player put a move with the feet tag on it. So poison jab, fire punch, lightning punch, whatever would have the arm or fist tag. And so if you apply it to a Pokemon, it already has an animation for that type of move, which that's really the main thing. Just expand the type of move animations. Because right now there's physical, special, you're getting hit. There's just a very small handful of them. But there's no reason that Hitmonlee can't have a punching animation and a kicking animation. Even though he typically
Unacceptable.
it's unacceptable.
Unacceptable.
Honestly, it's Pokemon. It's the most lucrative franchise in history. Do the freaking work.
Or just hire someone else to do it.
Yes, hire someone else to do it. That's what I think. Now, this is a great step in a new direction. I appreciate it. It is too little too late for me to be nice and say, oh, wow, you did a good job here. Like, you should have done it 10 years ago.
Yeah, this is no masterpiece.
No, it's so rough around the edges. The animations have always got me.
But it's very fun. And I had a great time. And the loop is there. Like
I did. I had a really good time. But it just one more thing about the animations. Like you look at the animations for X and Y, the like special move for the deer Pokemon. I forget what it's called. Its signature move has it like run up into the air and fly around and come crashing down on the other Pokemon. It's a stiff animation. It doesn't run or anything. It's just the stiff model that flies around and crashes down. And that's like the signature on the
might
box.
As well be T-posing. Just
yes, correct.
Incredible.
Let me finish this goat milk so we can open the last one.
Yeah. You mentioned that this is a next step for Pokemon. Well, we also
next
happen to
step
have Next Milk.
Next Milk,
which is one of the worst names. But, Silk's Next Milk.
So weird. And Josh, our friend, said you.
So Josh bought it because he likes milk alternatives. Milk messes with his stomach, like true dairy messes with his stomach. So he, he does a little milk alternatives.
Oh, like cherry messes with my stomach.
So he, usually it's oat milk or something. So he's like, oh, Next Milk, like this looks good. It comes in a larger thing. It's cheaper, than
is it
oat
cheap?
milk. Yeah, it's not compared to oat milk.
Oh, yeah.
So he's like, oh yeah, let me give it a go. And he literally poured it for himself, and he just had a taste, and he just went and threw it away. The whole thing, he threw it away, and I was like, oh, it's okay, we'll drink that. And he goes, no. He's like, no, you won't. He's like, I'm gonna spare you from this. So we'll see how bad it actually is. He's also a pretty picky guy, though. So
yes.
Yeah, so he's pretty picky with food.
Plant-based.
Plant-based. Smells like cherrim.
It's not bad. It's not milk.
Yeah. I mean, it's not satisfying.
H-E-B oat milk almost tastes like this.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean,
that's why I would that was good.
Like I wouldn't use this as a milk.
You what?
I wouldn't use this as a milk. This doesn't taste milky at all to me.
Well, I wouldn't drink it as a glass of milk, but I'd put it in cereal.
This kind of tastes like almond milk.
A little bit.
Like
it's not bad. It's not worth throwing away.
No.
What do I got here? Finally, my boy Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur. Yeah, we love the grass starters.
Yeah.
We just do. Oh, I got Snivy. Speaking of grass starters. Snivy. I don't know.
No Mew.
No Mew. Tragedy.
Gonna have to eat all these.
Yep, we gotta eat until we find Mew. Get the other pack!
$40 on eBay now.
Yeah. Are they really?
No, I don't know.
Okay, now that's not gonna be serious. I was like, what?
Some people do sell, like limited edition foods.
Oh my gosh. Well, so we had a guest. This is a little bit of tangent. We had a guest come into town this last Sunday, and I like to cook for people. I like cooking for people, so I made yakisoba. It's always a hit, like for pretty much anyone. If I don't know what they're gonna like, I'll make yakisoba. I do a pretty good yakisoba sauce, but I usually use pork belly. Well, pork belly is pretty expensive nowadays. It's always been a little expensive, But just buying pork belly. So I went to the store, and I bought 2 strips of pork belly, and I grabbed it, just put it in the cart. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And I go check out. It's $19 for 2 good strips of pork belly. I don't know, like maybe a little, not quite a pound and a half.
That's a lot of money.
$19
for a pound
for over like I'd say 1.4 pounds probably.
Okay.
What? So Amanda, the whole time she like was moving the grocery store, like, oh, don't drop the gold, don't drop the gold. Oh, babe, this gold's gonna taste so good. Like I was just being a literally middle-aged white man, just complaining about the price of meat that I'm bought anyway and am cooking. Like it's
middle-aged white man.
Anyway.
So more
snivy in my mouth
about the trash in this game. Not really. Okay, we've talked about it positively. I'm looking forward to a sequel. I think there will be a sequel, and I'll talk about my predictions for the Pokemon franchise moving forward.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Under the hood.
I really think I want to speak more on I think that the technical prowess of Game Freak, which I think is
lacking,
non-existent. Sure, you can make a competent 2D platformer with Tembo the Badass Elephant, but aside from that, they're not very good at what they do. They've been making the same Pokemon game for 20 years, or what has it been? 20 years.
I don't know, 90s.
Yeah,
more than 20 years.
Okay, 25 maybe.
Yeah,
it was like 98 or something, like that. So about 25 years been making roughly the same game. This game is pretty much Gen 4. It takes place in an ancient version of the region of Gen 4.
Shino.
Thematically, but you see here this little card I have.
Yes, I do.
Got a bunch of numbers here.
That's cool.
These are all of this is the breakdown of each Pokemon from every generation, the number of Pokemon. You have 54 from Gen 1, 35 from 2, 20 from 3, and it keeps going down all the way. Gen 7 only has 3 Pokemon in it. And then
makes sense, I think.
They only added 8 Pokemon, which are none of them are unique. All of them are Hisuian evolutions of.
Except for the legendary that they added, right?
Oh yeah, they did add a legendary. That's right. They did add which is a weird choice.
Yeah.
Like it's not even yes, it's a unique legendary, but it's in a line of other legendaries.
Yeah.
Like some of them added more Reggies. It's the Jin Pokemon. I forget what they're called. But anyway, it added a 4th one of those. It wasn't even a unique legendary. At least its own sort of thing. So only 8 new. Well, that's included in this 8.
Sure.
Only 8 new Pokemon. 119 of them are Gen 4 Pokemon.
I'd love to see it.
Yes. So there are 142 other Gen Pokemon and 119 Gen 4 Pokemon. So obviously the vast majority of it is Gen 4. And then most of them from other generations evolve into those Gen 4 Pokemon. But anyway, they just had someone else make a Gen 4 remake. And I don't think this is really a case of, oh, Gen 4 just came out, people are looking for those Pokemon, they want to play those Pokemon again, and like a publisher-mandated sort of thing. I don't think that's what it was. I think the other team, Game Freak did not make the Diamond and Pearl remake. It was some other developer. I think they had them work on those assets. The freshen up the models, make any new animations, which very sparse as we talked about, and then they use that. So Game Freak, they've been using the past 2 years since Sun and Moon to basically make this very elementary open world and some new mechanics, some good new mechanics as we talked about. But that's not 2 years
more
worth
than
of work.
2 years since Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
I meant Sword and Shield.
Oh, okay. Duh. I don't know. I was thinking. Yeah. No.
I said Sun and Moon, I think.
Yeah, you did. I should have known what you meant.
But if that's the case, if the team that worked on the Gen 4, and this is my own speculation here. I don't know anything. If they were basically used as a team to help for development on Pokemon Legends here, that's that does not look good for Game Freak, because what else is here is sparse, bare bones. I have seen better stuff made when I was in school. I made a more interesting open world in school than.
No, that's not to say it's not fun to explore that.
No,
It's
again,
just the
I spent
environment
30
itself.
hours and didn't even beat the game. I was just BSing in the first 4 areas. I played the game. I was engaged. I actively want to go back and finish it. So please, all of this comes from a place of wanting better for Pokemon. I love Pokemon.
Don't be sorry. Be better.
Correct.
Love it.
Correct.
And I know that's a line that has been said in so many movies and everything. It will never not be Kratos in my mind. Ever. It will always be Kratos saying it to Atreus.
Oh.
Don't be sorry. Be better. He's just amazing.
I'm very excited to play that. We're playing it soon.
Yeah, Dad of the Year.
I think like 2 months or something. I'll be playing it finally.
I mean, I've always called him Daddy Kratos, but now there's a reason, you know.
Yeah, yeah, Daddy Kratos.
Daddy Kratos.
Yeah. Anyhow, the open world is ugly, like gross to look at. The pop-in, 5 feet away from you, things are popping
and as is, it seems to be the Switch MO, especially from some of the more recent Japanese developers. Some of these larger 3D modeled games, lots of very obvious low frame rate in the distance things. Because usually that's like we've talked about before. It's a common thing that people do, but sometimes the models are too large and it's too close to where it's just so obvious.
That drop, the threshold, the distance threshold is way too close for it to be acceptable.
You can just look up in the sky and see a bird flying around in Pokemon, and it's just literally 3 frames. It's just
or God forbid you see an Onyx just around the bend.
Yeah, it's just like this stuttering disco master. What is going on?
It's gross.
Yeah,
and I knew that's exactly what it was in that first trailer. They had the game running, and then making the trailer, they had just the camera flying around. I get it.
Yeah,
I wasn't too worried about in the first trailer when you saw I think it was Chimecho that was 4 frames a second.
Yeah.
I understood
what was
that.
really difficult for me? I think probably the hardest part of the game, actually, for me, is climbing small inclines.
Dude, that was the first thing I texted you about. I got another Dratini here.
Ooh.
It was the first thing I texted you about. Every freaking foothill.
I mean, a little, one step.
Literally a step. One step. You can't climb it.
You give the guy your little person can't climb it. They're trying so hard.
It's absurd.
Yeah, it's insanity.
It's a complete invisible object blocking you from climbing it.
Oh,
it's so dumb.
Yeah, it really. Someone should have thought of that.
That really drove me up the wall, because I was again I basically just BS'd for 30 hours in this world, having fun catching Pokemon, but oh my god, traversing the world, not exploring the world, traversing the world, was rough. But exploring, I think, is the wrong way to frame it, because there's almost nothing to explore. It's very sparse. Nothing. That's my Dratini.
Oh, it's your Dratini.
You can have that Dratini.
No, please have it. I don't want to take it from you.
I was just talking. Too much to consume Dratini. Did you get the Mew?
I did not. I got Charmander.
Oh, okay.
Charmander.
So
he becomes Charizard.
What did you say?
I just said, he becomes Charizard.
Yeah, the most overrated Pokemon aside from Pikachu.
I am the biggest defender of Frozen, the movie.
What is happening?
Because
I need to eat Dratini.
I'm the biggest defender of Frozen, the movie, because most people now talk about it as if it's a bad, most common people, if you bring up Frozen, will talk about it as if it's a bad film. Frozen is one of Disney's best movies in a long time. Just pure Disney. One of their best movies in a very long time. And that song is incredible. The characters are delightful. Really good writing. Punchy little witty moments. It's a good movie. Charizard. Sure, I get it. It's too much. Your little daughter has listened to Let It Go too many times for you to enjoy that movie anymore. But don't call it bad. Just because Charizard's there literally every time there's any sort of thing Pokemon going on, doesn't mean Charizard's bad. Charizard's cool as hell. Charizard's cool.
Charizard's cool.
You don't like Frozen?
No.
Why?
I just didn't like it. I don't know why.
It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
Frozen 2 is really good too.
I just didn't enjoy it. I don't have any reason why. Some people might say, well, that's not a reason. So don't say you don't like it.
That's a reason.
Like I need a reason to dislike something. No, it wasn't for me. I never
don't
called
like
it bad.
Next Milk.
I've it's fine.
I don't have a reason. I just don't like Next Milk. I want previous milk, please.
Yeah. No, I've never called it bad. It's just not for me. I have not liked Disney movies in a while.
You watching Kanto?
No, I saw bits and pieces of it with Katie.
It's fun.
Just
it's a good movie.
in passing.
I don't think it's the masterpiece a lot of people are saying it is, but it's a well-made, great movie. It's one of the best.
I'd rather watch Luca if I were to sit down and watch it.
I watched that actually.
Was it good?
It's fine.
I'm really interested in the animation.
The animation was the best part.
It,
for sure.
It looks very.
Oh, and there's
different.
one relationship that's really well done. Like it's a kind of a surrogate father-son relationship that is just almost wordless in a lot of spots. That's just really well done. The rest of it's just good.
I gotta ask. We're about to get super political here.
Oh no,
not really. Is it the coming out story that a lot of people think it's trying to say, or is it like a Frodo Sam sort of relationship?
I mean, I think you can take whatever you want. There is no.
I don't care either way.
Yeah, there's no context for it being romance.
I just hate when people try to ship Sam and Frodo. Get out of here!
That's not. Yeah,
out of here.
In this, you can kind of. They're just so young, right?
Oh, sure,
they're
sure.
young that that's not.
It'd
really
be hard to sort of put that
like
on
even
there.
the girl isn't really a romantic interest for in the like at all. Like they're just so young. It's it's just a weird.
I have not seen it. I've just heard a lot of people talk about it.
Maybe I don't know. I mean, they're young kids.
Light.
You can interpret it how you want, I guess. But like, there's a very heartfelt moment at the end. Kind of self-sacrifice and beautiful moment. They're obviously super close. But again, I don't think romance is even subtly handled in it at all. It's very much not a part of the plot. So everything would have to be very under the hood. It's definitely not overt or assertive in any way. So I don't know. I didn't really pick up on any of that.
Okay. The animation though looks so interesting. It looks like almost like an Alfie. No, that's not right. Those comics that you'd see like sort of over the counter, like at checkout in the store. What are those called? Archie.
Oh, Archie comics.
Yeah.
I guess the expressions. Yeah.
I don't know. And
whatever
just, like,
they do,
the
it's
proportions.
really good.
The proportions
It's
are
really
weird.
good.
Just like I haven't really seen it.
The
in
water's
3D.
great. The water's great.
Yeah, it looks beautiful.
Yeah, it's fantastic, and the character designs are like some of the best character designs I've seen in a 3D animated movie in a while.
Yeah, that's what's really interesting to me. Anyhow, Disney. Disney movies suck. That's not at all what we got from that conversation.
You know what my favorite Disney movie is to this day? Pinocchio.
Really?
Dude, Pinocchio's incredible.
I don't know the last time. I don't know if I've ever seen it all the way through.
Pinocchio is pure, unbridled fantasy. Not fairy tale. Fantasy. And, I mean, it's one of the most translated stories of all time. Everybody knows Pinocchio. It's still the best rendition of Pinocchio. Until Guillermo del Toro's comes out at the end of this year.
Yeah. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, Over the Garden Wall and Guillermo del Toro.
Oh. Yeah.
Does me hardcore.
I like Beauty and the Beast a lot. Fox and the Hound.
Really, all the 90s Disney movies are all really, really good.
Yeah.
Mulan, Beauty and the Beast, Lion
Mulan's
King.
probably my least favorite of them.
Oh, what? Don't say that. Mulan's a delight.
Yeah, but you've got Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, Pocahontas, and then...
I don't like Pocahontas that much, actually.
I'd have to watch it again. Both of them, it's been a long time. I would say I put Pocahontas above it, but I'd need to rewatch them.
The music in Mulan is fantastic.
It's very good.
It's very good. It's very good.
And then you've got the
Beauty and the Beast is the best of that, though, I'd say. I like it better than Lion King. Even.
That's a rough one. I don't know. Lion King is just
You know me. I'm a sucker
treasure.
I'm a sucker for fairy tale fantasy.
Yeah, I like Beauty and the Beast a lot. You know, I've still not seen.
And Gaston. I was called Gaston so many times in high school.
That's weird.
Yeah, I was also a horrible douche in high school, so I mean, maybe it was pretty appropriate.
That's really weird. I think it will be my favorite Disney movie, but I have not yet seen Sleeping Beauty.
You haven't seen Sleeping Beauty?
Yeah.
That's right up there next to Pinocchio for me. The one that I need to rewatch to figure out if it's going to be that high, because I haven't seen it since I was like 12, but I have not forgotten huge portions of it, is The Black Cauldron.
Yeah, The Black Cauldron's very good.
Yeah, and I like those stories. They're not my favorite fantasy stories, the books. From what I've read, I like them quite a bit, but that movie is burned into my brain.
I have such a soft spot for Aristocats.
Oh, it's a delight. I think it's one of the most fun Disney movies. Yeah. Oh, 101 Dalmatians, awesome. Cruella de Vil is still one of the best villains.
I
love her.
don't think I've seen it.
Really? It's very good. Like, again, it's the character designs in that are fantastic. Fantastic.
Is that 90s?
That was like 50s, I think.
Oh, yeah, I thought so.
Like, it's like early Disney.
Yeah, okay. Aristocats.
Maybe not 50s. I don't know.
But it's older. It's 70s.
It's pre-Renaissance, whatever you want to say.
Probably 70s, I think.
Yeah. So
that sounds right.
But yeah, Beauty and the
early 2000s is
Sleeping
super
Beauty
underrated.
Is gorgeous.
With
dude, freaking Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah,
oh,
I know you do. I didn't grow up with it. Didn't see it till I was an adult. It's very good. But it didn't hit me the way it hit you.
Sure.
I got such a soft spot for the what was it, Treasure Planet and Atlantis. I love them both so much.
Oh yeah,
they're very influential for me, especially Atlantis. I mean, I like Treasure Planet more. I think it's a better movie. But Atlantis is so fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, fantastical. It's incredible to look at.
Yeah, it's like Jules Verne fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Wild.
You know, my favorite thing about this discussion is Pokemon dredged up all these childhood like wonders for us, and now we're just talking about Disney movies. Like it's weird. I'm glad that happened.
You know, you and I have both been thinking about kids a lot lately. You're about to have kids, my wife and I, and hopefully just a year and a half, 2 years maybe. I've been thinking a lot about what the most important thing my parents imparted to me was, and what I'm hopefully going to be able to impart to my kids. And I don't think I'll be able to impart this because it's now inherent. But the previous generation, so not just my parents, your parents too, more than any other generation, has facilitated nostalgia. I don't think... I've never heard anybody talk about their childhood like we talk about our childhood. And I mean our generation, everybody. Talk about Pokemon, Disney, 90s Nickelodeon. Our
freaking
parents don't have that.
SpongeBob,
yeah.
guys. Ugh.
And they created a generation capable of experiencing like really gripping nostalgia. And I'm so appreciative of that. But I think it's now just inherent. I don't think that's something we're really going to impart. There's a part of us now.
Interesting.
Nostalgia. Anyhow, yeah, Pokemon.
We both have like a structured plan for like when we're going to dole out certain stories or games to our children. Like just slowly forming in our brains. No, not that one, not quite yet.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking about Outer Wilds the other day.
Yeah. It's like you want to make sure they're going to get the most they can out of the one time they'll be able to experience Outer Wilds.
It's got to be such a careful time that you recommend it.
Yeah, and it depends on the kid.
Yeah,
totally depends on the kid. Like, some kids might be ready at like 19, and then some it's gonna take like longer. Oh man, kids.
Yeah, I look forward.
Neon Genesis Evangelion is what I'm looking at on my shelf right now. Just so you know, trying to pick the time for that. I think that's like a 16.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, it's definitely got to
because
be.
you can re-experience it. It will be something that that will grow with you. But that raw Catcher in the Rye coming of age
when you're
stuff,
going through those things.
Yeah.
What? Because we watched
isolation.
it as an adult. We
But
watched
like
it
we're
just
both very
last
in
year.
touch with that the tumult of high school emotions of that like coming of age stuff. Like you and I stay very in touch with that. We look at quote unquote children often as adults. Like like this 15, 16-year-old has adult emotions. Like we both think and talk that way.
Yeah.
And yeah, I agree. As for the Last Airbender will happen at like 10 though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like 9, 10 when they're able to appreciate watching a show and be able to put a story together in their brains.
Yeah, and also just to have more than just a I would argue an inherent level of empathy. I think we all
a practiced empathy.
Yeah, practiced empathy, exactly.
Yeah, like
So it might come a little younger than 9, but that's a good way to put it. When they have developed a practiced empathy, which can come very young.
I mean, I remember in high school, I like prided myself on like barely ever crying at movies, and coming to this time after I think it was like well after reading things like Dostoevsky and some of the larger, more significant works that I've read in my life, kind of coming into the college age and realizing that is not a badge of honor.
No, dude, I cry every day.
I would rather be able to empathize and be in touch with this story and really be able to relate to this person's experiences as closely as I can to them. Like that's a badge of honor.
Yeah.
And so yes, I will cry during Lord of the Rings at basically every other scene.
Basically every other scene. Especially.
Yeah.
Sam, you don't know how to swim.
Oh, it's so good.
By the promise, Mr. Frodo.
Dude, for me, the one that got me last time was I was watching Two Towers and Theoden's like, for centuries these flowers have covered the graves of my forefathers. Today they cover the grave of my son. Like, and it's like this man who is so lost in hopelessness and is barely holding on. He's just doing it because he knows it's the right thing to do. That's literally the only reason he's moving forward at all. Is just because he knows it is the right thing to do. He has lost all hope. And Theoden's probably my favorite character outside of Sam. I love Theoden. Theoden and Denethor work really well together.
Yeah. I remember when I sort of unlocked my emotions. I didn't remember until recently. I watched a Nerd Writer 1. If you don't follow him on YouTube, you're doing YouTube wrong. Nerd Writer 1, he's got a video about Titanic and melodrama. And I was never able to illustrate this point, even to myself, until I watched this video. But everything he says about it is the same for me. He remembers being 9 years old. Now, I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it at home. But he remembers being 9 and going to see Titanic with his parents. And coming out, he didn't cry in that movie, but he came out of that movie changed completely. And emotion had been activated in his soul after seeing Titanic.
Titanic activated his trap card.
Yes, his trap card being, a crying man.
Yeah, human adult emotions. It's the worst trap, really.
Yes. No, but the same is true for me. I remember there was a time early on where I was almost obsessed with that movie. One, Kate Winslet is gorgeous. But also...
These have been true facts.
These have been true facts about beautiful women. But also... And just what an elegant scene.
Yeah,
it's
fantastic.
Perfect.
Classic.
But that was true for me as well. Like, seeing these hugely over-dramatized... That's not a word. These wildly dramatic... depictions of good and evil and love and hate They're so black and white in that movie.
Yeah.
That's the whole point of melodrama, and that's what his video is about. I'll link it in the description. It's beautiful.
I think one of the best stories for that ever is for young boys specifically is Catcher in the Rye.
I have not read or watched Catcher in the Rye.
Well, there's
is it a movie?
No movie yet. I don't think there should be. It's very. It's very. It works exactly as it is. It's very much intended to be a novel.
Okay.
And it works great as that. But that's one I'd recommend that you read. It won't take you long. The audiobook's probably less than 10 hours. It's super short.
Okay.
But it's very much about that. Like, it's a young man, teenager, becoming... he's growing up. He has these wild emotions in him. Is dealing with sexual frustration and is dealing with...
I got another Sableye, by the way.
Sableye. And he's dealing with the frustration of trying to reconcile the fact that, like, he values innocence but has lost it. Like, he treasures innocence and has lost it. And trying to decide if it's worth caring about at all. And, should innocence be valued at all? And he has to come to this conclusion. That's the story, The Catcher in the Rye. That's what the title references. And one of the best moments in the book is he reads on a bathroom wall, or no, just the wall at an elementary school. Someone's written "F-U" on the wall, and he just gets so pissed that anyone would feel okay doing that, that it gives them some sick sense of satisfaction to corrupt the mind of some young child with this, and he's just wrestling with that. And it's a beautiful story. There's a lot of Catcher in the Rye and Weathering with You, which is...
I do wonder if a lot of that would not be lost on me. That's probably the wrong way to phrase it, but that concept I've already sort of wrestled with myself.
Sure, but by the time I read it, I had as well. It's very much how in touch J.D. Salinger is with the raw emotional experience of this young person. It'll light that back up in you. Maybe not that dilemma, but that time. And there's nothing like it. It's the coming of age story for young boys. It's incredible. We're talking about Pokemon, I think, right?
No, we're not anymore.
No, I think we should title this Pokemon Legends Arceus and other.
No, I already
memories.
know what I'm gonna title this little section to cut out. But I pride myself on it's weird, my level of empathy, but I don't have a lot of empathy in real life.
You don't have a lot of. I mean, I think you're still pretty empathetic. I think you're just not very sympathetic. You're not.
Well, I'm not sympathetic.
Yeah, you're
no.
It's, and I think that's fine.
But it's, the day-to-day stuff. Yeah, interesting. So sympathy is definitely on a more personal level. Empathy is a more broad, sweeping term, right? Sympathy, sympathy is a larger scope.
There's a bunch of definitions for both, unfortunately.
Sure.
But yeah, you get it when you hear it.
Just the other day, you had finished Attack on Titan Season 3, and we were talking about the songs that play, the opening title songs and the credits, and I was just, gushing over Season 4 credit song, and I was like, oh, I'll play that in the car. On my way to work, just losing it, listening to that song again, and we finally started it today. It's so good. But what they are doing with those characters in Season 4 just kills me. Like Jojo Rabbit. My wife had to sit me down as we walked out of the theater because I had cried 4 times throughout the movie already, and then walking out of the theater I was literally weeping. People must have thought I was crazy.
Oh yeah.
But we had to stop outside, and she's like, "Are you okay right now?" Dude, that last scene, you gotta watch Jojo Rabbit. You're gonna love it.
I know.
She's gonna love it too. Amanda will watch it with you, I'm
I know.
sure. It's so good. We'll come over. We'll just make a day of it. The 4 of us, some Sunday evening, watch Jojo Rabbit. It's so good. So good, man. Moving on. Disney, Pokemon, crying adults, Sam and Frodo. Oh, I love Sam and Frodo so
And
much.
Frodo.
Oh, man.
And just one of the cheesiest lines in movie history, but it is so earned. I can't carry it for you, Mr. Frodo. But I can't carry you! Like, it's so cheesy. It's so cheesy, but, like, it just... You've been with them for 10 hours.
Yeah.
And it's so earned. It's so earned.
Absolutely. I love it. Back to the things that are not good about this Pokemon game.
So let me touch on one real quick, is the combat system. I like that now, traditionally, when you defeat an opponent's Pokemon and it's a trainer, they'll tell you what they're about to send out, and then you get to choose if you want a free swap. So basically, you keep your turn. Like, it resets the turn. You get to send out a different Pokemon for free if you want to, and then they'll send out their Pokemon, and whoever's faster goes first. So it's basically a free. Oh, let me just cut through this next grass Pokemon. I'm gonna switch to my fire Pokemon. Whatever, something like that. Well, in this game, they take that away, which I think is a good move. Mm-hmm. I think it's a good move to where now it's about a turn economy. If you use certain moves or an agile style move, you'll start to gain, behind the scenes priority, and eventually you can double up in a turn. Using a strong style move does more damage, but then decreases.
Did you have the turn
Yeah.
On the screen at all times?
Oh, yeah, all times.
It's just so nice
all
to
times.
see there.
It should be on by default. I don't know why it wasn't. It's silly. But yeah, the problem, though, is the previous system highlights the simplicity of battle in that. Like, there's not that much tactical need in a battle like that, in the previous system. Mm-hmm. You just pick the Pokemon with the weakness. Now, a very different problem has been revealed, and both highlight the simplicity of Pokemon's formula overall, and I'd say in a bad way. Thankfully, this really doesn't come out because the game's not hard. Like, Arceus is not hard.
No.
So it doesn't really
show. Until the end.
At the end you have to fight 8 Pokemon from this champion back to back, the last 2 of which are legendaries. In fact, it's the same legendary who just comes back with full health.
Now, it is harder than Sun and Moon.
Yes.
But that's not saying much at all.
Yeah, correct.
Like, setting up a checkers board is harder than Sun and Moon.
Incredible. So the problem is, so you fight the champion who basically has Cynthia's team from Gen 4, except one of them swapped out for the new Arcanine. Which is it's a champion. It's going to be a diverse, well-built team, typically, and my Pokemon are a little lower level, but I got great Pokemon. And, I got a diverse team. I'm missing, like, ground, rock, ice, and water, which are some pretty core elements, but I made it work. I have the move diversity that I need. And, anyway, all that to say, it doesn't matter. Because if I throw my Sylveon out to take out his Spiritomb, right? He's every time going to throw out his Roserade and use Poison Jab.
He uses Roserade?
Yeah, he's a smart man.
Be a legend for that one, fam.
Yeah. Thank you, Tyler. But he throws out Roserade and kills my Sylveon in a single hit because my Sylveon's my whole team's like 4 levels lower than him. But it doesn't matter if they're the same level. The same thing would happen. He's going to send out his Roserade. Now I'm going to send out my Ninetales and kill the Roserade in one hit. Now he's going to send out his Garchomp and kill me in one hit. Now I'm going to send out my Pokemon and Dragon or whatever, and it's just keep going back and forth. And sure, I can get a beefy Pokemon, but typically the trade-off for a beefier Pokemon is lower damage, so it's going to take 2 hits to kill that person, unless it's times 4 damage. And it just becomes this... It is now rock, paper, scissors. You are literally just trading Pokemon. The best I could do was beat him with 3 Pokemon left, 1 with almost no health. And that was with luck. Like, I got lucky on a round where he missed or something like that. Absolute insanity and foolishness that the game is built like that. And it's...
I agree.
It's very silly.
Yes, definitely. I mentioned before, when I came back to Pokemon with Sun and Moon, I went hard in the numbers. So I want to talk about the numbers for a minute, for those that don't know. Now, if we have a listener who is a hardcore elite Pokemon player, these are going to be oversimplified a little bit. I may even fudge the numbers just a bit. But the gist of it is this. There are a few sets of numbers. There are a Pokemon's base stats. Whenever you look at a Pokedex online, you see this one's got 80 health, it's got 93 attack, it's got 140 health, HP. You know, whatever it is, it's got a spread of its stats. What are they? 1, 2, 3, 6 stats, and you know they come out to a total. Roserade's 470 or whatever. Most of the legendaries come out to 600. Those are its stats. So those are unchangeable. Every version of Geodude has the same base stat. Then you've got the effort value, which is what you see, which has now been brought to the absolute forefront in this game. It's core to the leveling of your Pokemon. Well, at least they try to present it that way. I really think it's completely meaningless in this game. Even more so than in the other Pokemon games, because those actually facilitate competitive play and encourage competitive play. This game does not. But the EVs, you see they level up 1 to 10, 0 to 10, and every stat, so your HP, your speed, your attack, special attack, they each have an EV. What those do is affect the rate at which that stat increases every time you level. So an EV of 4 will level up by a certain amount. That doesn't mean 4, but let's say your HP EV were 4, it would increase more every level than an EV of 2. So those you can affect. And here they make it super easy. I love it. It takes away a lot of the BS from grinding and having to train your Pokemon in the other games. Which I say BS of training your Pokemon, that's the whole point of the game. But then you've got the inherent value, the IVs. Those are completely under the hood. You weren't able to see them until some of the more modern games, and even then, it's after credits roll, some esoteric way. You gotta get some item, go talk to these weird people in a cave, whatever, you get an item that lets you see the IVs. Every Pokemon has an IV spread of this is where I'd fudge the numbers. Let's say it's 9. Every stat can have anywhere from 0 to 4, I believe it is. And then, so 3 of them can have 4, then 2 of them have 2, and 1 of them have 1. And what those are is what I believe they are is the starting rate at which the EVs increase them. It's really a bunch of nonsense. There's a very long and complicated algorithm to how a Pokemon levels up happening under the hood. It's really bonkers.
Yep.
I don't know why. Anyhow, a lot of that information was useless, and I'm sorry, I just like talking about Pokemon numbers, okay? But the EVs have been brought to the absolute forefront of this game. They've been made really the core way you train your Pokemon. And I really appreciate the loop. I've already said I appreciate the loop, but digging into it a bit more, you go out and you catch Pokemon. You catch a bunch of these, a bunch of copies of Pokemon to fill the Pokedex. You catch a bunch of copies of Pokemon to get money and also to level up your trainer value, whereas before you would go through gyms. Once you beat the second gym, Pokemon of level 30 will obey you, and you can do other things. You can use these kind of moves out in the wild and whatnot. Now, that part of the Pokemon experience is based on your trainer level, which goes up by getting Pokemon. So you've got a bunch of leftover copies of Magikarp. I said I was catching 30 Magikarp, which is actually very useful, because when you bulk release Pokemon, you get the gravel. Did you do that, the bulk release, a lot? I was really about to lose it. And then I looked online that eventually you unlock bulk release. I thought that was a huge oversight in the beginning. You don't get it until you fill up 4 boxes in your Pokebank. But yeah, that would have been one of the most egregious oversights if they didn't allow that. Anyway, when you bulk release Pokemon, or even when you just release one Pokemon, but it's best to bulk release, some guy comes up and says, hey, your Pokemon left this stuff behind for you. And you get grit dust, gravel, pebbles, and rocks. Grit rocks and whatever. So grit is the thing. And you give that to your Pokemon to just straight up raise the level of its EVs. It's great. Whereas before, do you know how you increase your EVs?
Oh yeah, every Pokemon raises a different EV.
Yeah,
so,
like
so when
2
you
to
beat that,
3.
Yeah, and so when you beat that Pokemon, it'll give that spread of EVs to your Pokemon, and it's like up to 255. You know, like is the max you can do on one stat. I think you can max out 2 to 255, and then like 1 you can get up to like 60. I don't remember the numbers.
Yeah.
But like,
oh, that's what I was talking about. So not the IVs; those are all 0 to 5. The effort value
effort
is the
value
thing
is-
where you
yeah.
can get some max to 254, something to 60, and the others to a much lower number.
the others like 0. They stay at 0.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they all stay at 0. Like if you're spreading it perfectly.
Yes.
Like, because if you have even 1 point in defense, now you can only have 254 in attack instead of 255 or whatever.
Yes.
So, yeah, you'd have to, like, find the, Roserade will give you 2 attack and 1 speed or whatever when you beat it. Zubat gives you 1 speed. That's a lot of people just grind Zubats for speed or whatever. Or no, 2 speed. So, something like that. And you'd have to grind. Sun and Moon, you could leave them in a farm that would boost whatever you told it to boost, which was nice. And then friggin'
Yeah, dude. Training. Raising Pokemon in Sun and Moon was great.
and then what's the stupid one where you play which Pokemon game was it where you have to like play a little ball game with them? I think it's Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. I think it was, and based on how well you perform in that thing, it will train up whatever EV you chose to. So it's even more grindy, but less tough.
I bet that was X and Y. That's when
I
they
never played X and Y.
then maybe it was the Gen 3 remakes. I bet it came from X and Y because that's when they started you can pet your Pokemon, you put them in pageants, and they were on the screen, they were animals that you could interact with. That's when they started that. So I bet it's from X and Y.
Okay.
But I don't know for sure.
But yeah.
Anyway, that's not the case anymore. Maybe that's still the case under the hood. Some way it's like that, but it doesn't seem that way. Your EVs all have level 0 through 10, and it's really great. It's just so easy to train Pokemon, and it takes a lot of the BS away. That said, as positive as that is, all of those affordances are completely lost on this game because there's not a competitive bone in the body of this game. It's just for you to have fun in a single-player Pokemon game. Sure, you can trade online, but you can't battle, can you?
I don't know. I didn't do any online stuff.
I'm gonna lean towards no. But it's certainly not like X and Y. I mean, even now, not X and Y, it's Sword and Shield. Even now, that's still the competitive Pokemon game. They didn't move competitive play to the Diamond and Pearl remakes. Competitive play is happening on Sword and Shield, so you have to transfer your Pokemon from Diamond and Pearl to the previous game to facilitate the competitive play. None of that's happening here. So why am I mean, it's nice to watch the numbers go up, but why am I even worried about that? Like, why do we still have Pokemon that are completely useless? I get it. A Psyduck is not going to go up against a Charizard. That doesn't make sense.
Hold my beer.
But it's obviously a casual Pokemon game. The numbers are meaningless here. You don't need to pay attention to any of them. Yes, they will make your Pokemon better, but to no end. Like, they're just it's a higher number for the sake of being a higher number. So I appreciate it, and I doubt this will happen, but I hope they implement something similar to that or move in that direction with
at least take
following
the
Pokemon games.
Moves memory.
Oh my god, that has to happen. That's perfect.
And it gives you a new level of strategy, and you actually can think about your moveset as more than just a static thing.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
I appreciate that a lot.
And like when you teach them something from like a move tutor or something, it just is added to the bank. So nice.
It's really, really good.
So nice.
And then of course the evolving, as you mentioned, like that being a menu option once you reach the threshold, the level threshold, instead of it just happening automatically. That's great. But it's a weird sort of disjointed game, man. It's got a lot positive to it. It's got a lot of the same BS we've seen before. Again, those Pokemon animations, I hate them. Do better. I know there are 1,000 Pokemon now, but you know what? Get another team. Like, hire another team to just do that for the next 3 years. And then by the time you reach whatever Pokemon game comes out in 3 years, that team, the only thing they have been doing for 3 years is fully animating all 1,000 Pokemon, or whatever they are. So you have the entire roster fully animated. Just hire another team to do it. If you can't, which I know you can't. Game Freak. Anyway, I do have some predictions of where Pokemon will go. Moving forward.
Do you think what I think, which is that this is going to be just another, if based on the success of this will just be another series, another primary series in the Pokemon canon?
I don't think so.
That's what I think will happen. I do not think Nintendo will let them drop what they've done. Either this is going to be a secondary series, or the mainline series will incorporate some of the elements from this, but still stay pretty much exactly the mainline series.
I think what is going to happen. We've not really seen numbers for this yet, but it seems to be getting a lot of positive buzz.
And it's sold. It's even some places I've heard it's even hard to find. Like it sold really well.
Yeah.
Well, it was. It's not now, but you know what I mean.
My GameStop was out when I tried to go pick up. Like, I guess I forgot to pre-order it, but my GameStop was out, and then you couldn't get it on Amazon Prime. Like, Amazon was out of copies. You could get it from third parties on Amazon, but the like weekend of release, not available through Amazon distribution through Prime. It was a little hard to find. That might just be because of shipping delays, but it's a popular game, and there's been a pretty big dearth of meaningful Nintendo content recently, so that's gonna help it.
Yeah, that's a huge shame. Oh, come on, guys.
Indeed. Well, I mean, this year's gonna be good.
Yeah, and the Xenoblade 3 announcement was a good call, I think, too. I think it was a good call.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, it's got its fans for sure.
Yeah. Well, I really want to play Xenoblade 1.
Yes, absolutely.
I really do.
This is what I think is.
I need to pick them both up.
I don't have to.
X has not been put on Switch yet, right? X is still a Wii U
bizarre.
exclusive.
It's really bizarre.
I need to pick that up.
Yeah.
I just like.
I don't have that.
My favorite Wii U game I own is Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate.
Mine is probably
besides Wind Waker, obviously. Like, not favorite game. You know what I mean? Like, my favorite thing that I own.
Yeah, mine's probably Deus Ex, followed by Game & Wario. Yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, we got to play that. Just predictions here. You know, I'm no expert, but I would like to see. Oh, actually, I forgot some notes here. Things that I would like to see moving forward with this formula. I have always absolutely hated HMs. I hate having an HM slave, and God forbid, the fourth generation with needing 2 HM slaves.
Gotta have double Bidoof, you know?
Double Bidoof, bro. Get that Bidoof.
Why did I play with Bidoof this game? What's wrong with me? I'm a waste of
6 Bidoofs. I just want to play a team that's all the Badger Pokemon from Route 1.
Bidoof and Linoon.
And the Donald Trump Pokemon, whatever that is.
Yeah, that guy. The hair.
Yeah, it's crazy. Zigzagoon.
Oh, I love it. Well, that's,
Sentret.
I love Zigzagoon.
I know they're not all Badgers, but every Pokemon generation has the, I guess in...
the rodent.
The rodent, but I guess the stand-in there for the previous generation was the sheep. I don't think they had a rodent. They had the normal type with one evolution. In this case, it was the sheep. That was an interesting shakeup. Anyhow, things I would like to see. I've always hated the HMs. I loved, coming back to Sun and Moon as my first Pokemon in like 15 years. The fact that you could you were calling services from Pokemon was a godsend. Bring back HMs. I think bring back a form of HMs. Maybe not every Pokemon. Well, first of all, take away the services because they still have the equivalent of that in this game. You call a Pokemon to ride, you call a Pokemon to swim, and whatnot, fly, climb, whatever. But maybe some types of Pokemon can get the berries from trees. Some types of Pokemon can smash the rocks, can swim, that you can ride on. I don't mean teach a Pokemon fly and rock
No,
smash.
a Pokemon.
I just mean I got a Geodude, throw a Geodude out the rock. I've got a
a bug Pokemon's gonna get.
Yeah, whatever. I've got a Go-Goat. I'm gonna ride my Go-Goat around. Just like in Breath of the Wild, where you can get on any mount, even deer. They're not fast. They're not going to listen to you, but they're deer, and you can jump on them.
Yeah.
That's
that very systemic philosophy. If I can do this thing, I must make sure this thing is doable in all places and reacts in this way every time.
Yeah. I say bring that sort of stuff back where if I know I'm going out to farm berries and the nuts you get to make Pokeballs, I'm gonna bring a bug type with me or a grass type to do that action. And if I want to ride around very fast, I'm gonna have the deer in my party, which is still a usable Pokemon. I don't have to teach it all the stupid moves, but
it just does what it would do.
Yeah. I would be okay if they brought it back in that way because it's real interactions with Pokemon.
Absolutely.
So bring those back.
It brings the world more life.
Absolutely. I say, make more ways to interact, which that's the number one way to interact with Pokemon. But also the wild Pokemon, maybe you can lay traps, you can lead them into hazards, maybe corner them. If you can corner a Pokemon, maybe some of them would react differently.
More reactions from the Pokemon besides just being friendly or hostile.
Yeah, like Mr. Mime. Mr. Mime's a one-off.
Yeah.
At least in the 4 areas I played, no other Pokemon does that. Maybe there's not maybe one of the bird type not be hostile, but it can use its wings to flap away your Pokeball. It's not going to attack you. It's not a particularly aggressive Pokemon, but it has ways. Do what?
It's not going to make your life easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
Mr. Mime was so cool. That was such a surprise. He's just gonna walk around and do his thing.
Kadabra, when you try to throw a Pokeball at his back, he can he catches it because he knows it's coming because he's psychic.
Wait, does he do that?
No, that'd be great.
Oh, yes, that would be amazing.
That'd be super cool. But if you throw it in front, he's not paying attention because he's psychically somewhere else.
Yeah, sure. You can only walk up to him in front.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. I think maybe because there's double battles. If you do a battle with 2 hostile Pokemon nearby, they're going to join the battle.
You can't send out more than one of yours.
Yeah, what if you could flank Pokemon? Throw out a Pokeball behind and then immediately in front of a Pokemon? Yeah. That'd be really cool. All of those are super easy implementations and would make the world feel really alive. Double down on the Mr. Mime stuff, where Pokemon are reacting to you in unique ways.
And I've always felt, this is just me speculating, but I've always felt we're still picking moves and doing the Pokemon RPG thing. What if you just had certain commands that you could shout and the Pokemon, based on how you train them during a training time or something, how you've taught them to respond in certain situations, that's how that Pokemon will behave? So you just limit it to, you can only really have, 150 Pokemon in this game because you have to really limit the roster. But, you actually train them. And when you have, attack, defend, run, hide, a couple just broad commands, and you can kind of train them in certain training situations. You have a training area, and based on where you are and what it is you're interacting with and when you're shouting those commands, it learns how to behave. I've always thought that would be the coolest way to do Pokemon.
Interesting. That's how the first, you only ever have one, but that's how the first Digimon world works. You don't directly command your Digimon. First you have to train it to trust you. Then you have to basically level up it and your relationship with it to give it commands, cool. or to unlock commands that maybe it will listen to. Based on your relationship with you, you're just shouting attack, 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 but it hates you. It's not going to attack. It's just going to run around until it feels threatened. But as you build up the trust, and then also its actual training, you're unlocking a bunch of different kinds of commands.
I love that meme where it's like Pokemon evolution. It's like just, like, oh, the raccoon becomes the bear, becomes whatever, and it's like Digimon evolution. The raccoon becomes the bear, becomes a fridge with a minigun on it. Like it's just it's incredible.
Digimon is bizarre.
Yeah,
really, really.
I have
weird.
always wanted to watch all of Billiam's videos.
Yeah, he loves Digimon so much.
Good for him. I want
just like there are, maybe we can do it while Amanda's gone. We're gonna watch those 3 Neon Genesis movies.
4.
Oh, there's 4.
Yeah, that's the series
goodness.
is 4. Yeah.
There
we need to get like some junk food and beer and just prepare.
There's a Digimon trilogy that came out just a couple of years ago, a movie trilogy that's based on all the first characters now in college, and they haven't been to the Digiworld in 20 years, or they're like graduating college or whatever, but they haven't been since they were kids, since you had watched the show, and now the Digiworld is starting to open up again, and they're adults having to form new relationships with their
That's cool.
Digimon. Yeah, it seems really cool. The animation is great in those. But finally, this has got to be the number one thing. Even if you just do the same thing better, make that world better. It's really a crap open world.
And you don't have to try to emulate the Breath of the Wild style. Like, there's a couple times where I look at that world and I go, like, it's trying to have a natural draw your eye to this interesting thing moment, and it's not doing it. Like,
no.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't do it.
Stop doing that. Make a Pokemon world.
Yeah, or get Monolith to help you. Just like Nintendo, whichever team at Nintendo made Breath of the Wild, they didn't make that world. Monolith made that world. Monolith Soft. I think there's 2 developers called Monolith. But the guys that made Xenoblade, they did the world of Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. I mean,
so bring someone on to help do that.
When you listen to the main inspirations for Breath of the Wild, it's bizarre. It's like, probably the primary influence was The Witcher 3. Like one of the guys said. It's like, what? The Witcher 3? What are you talking about? But then you play The Witcher 3 and you realize what they mean. I bet you those guys played The Witcher 3 without ever looking at a map. And that's not the way it's meant to be played. It doesn't actually work. You need the map in The Witcher 3, unfortunately. You can't follow the directions. It doesn't work like that. But if you know where you're going, or if you don't plan on going somewhere, if you're not following the story and you're just walking around that world, things catch your eye and you do want to go towards places, and you will often be rewarded. Nowhere near as consistently as Breath of the Wild, or as open, but you can see it, and remember what your goals are, though. Like, this is not an open world game. It's not trying to reward you for your eyes drawing somewhere. It is a place where you want to be able to think, I bet you this Pokemon will be here. Or I bet you that at this time of day, these Pokemon will gather around here and behave this way, or interact with each other like this. Or like, you want to explore an ecosystem. That's what will reward Pokemon fans.
Yeah.
And so focus on that.
Yeah, they are not believable ecosystems here.
No, there's just a random Togepi next to a bayou somewhere, and it's like, why? Why is this Togepi here?
Yeah.
Why is this, what'd you say, like level 38 Togepi here? Like, what is going on?
Dude, that's so dumb. You know what was really weird? Did you find a Machop? Or whatever the first form of... Is it Machop?
Yeah, Machop, Machamp.
Yeah. Did you find the Machops?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah.
It's just a cave...
of Machops.
Yeah, like 3 little boys living in a cave by themselves.
And it's so
bizarre.
funny how, like, they do look like a muscular child.
Yeah.
Like the way that their muscles look, like
with gills.
Like, yeah, but like they have these their skin is they're so skinny. They have these like muscles. It's it reminds me of the that sketch from I Think You Should Leave, where they had the muscular children. Oh my gosh, incredible.
Yeah, finding them was very odd. But actually, I really like that. That was the 2 times I was rewarded for exploring.
Yeah,
because that is off the beaten path.
I remember that vividly.
It was bizarre, and it's nothing great. I'm not even going to use that Pokemon, but it was just such a bizarre scene. Just 3 little boys living in a cave alone.
It's bizarre. Yeah.
And then in the first area, there's a little island and a lake. and the only thing on that island is an unknown.
Oh yeah, I do like that. I do like that quite a bit.
Other
finding
than
the
that,
unknowns.
there's almost no reward to exploring.
No, there's not.
Unfortunately.
Again, that's why focus on the ecosystem, right? That's what's really gonna make the Pokemon interact with one another more. Don't just have these clumps of Pokemon.
Yeah, you know, on that lake. So where I was just talking about, it's a small
the legendary lake, right from the original Sinnoh games. You know.
I didn't play Gen 4.
Yeah, it's.
I only got to the first gen in the remake.
That's right.
First gym.
The
in the
three
remake.
lakes of the three legendaries, and so like there's there's an island in the middle, and you go out in the lake.
Oh, yeah. I'd like to see something where like, you go out to a pretty large pond with a little island in the middle, and maybe there is a a particular bug type there, but on the water, like hovering just on the water, are like a bunch of Rabombees or something.
Yeah,
like that makes sense that they would be there. Like there's flowers there, and Rabombe are in the flowers. Like a Mr. Mime just walking around is weird.
Yeah,
it doesn't. I mean, putting Mr. Mime anywhere is weird.
Mr. Mime is like people complain nowadays about Pokemon being just the furry humanoid thing, like very human-esque, anthropomorphic, I guess. And you just look at Mr. Mime's Gen 1.
Yeah,
like, which is just someone's like,
I feel like Jinx as well.
I feel like somebody. Oh, Jinx, yeah, that's a topic. And I feel like you run into these moments where the entire team is running through, like, okay, guys, this is the plan. This is the plan. We're gonna make this Pokemon game. It's gonna be cool. Everybody bring your designs. And there's just one guy who's sleeping through the whole meeting. He's just sleeping through the entire meeting, and then he wakes up, and he's like, everybody's going to start drawing their stuff, and he's like, oh crap, what are we talking about? And they're like, well, we're just drawing Pokemon. Oh, great. And he's like, what the fuck? What's Pokemon? He's like, so he just draws this Mr. Mime thing. Everybody's starting their other stuff. He's looking like a little drowsy over there. He's like, oh, that looks cool. These look like animals. He hands in Mr. Mime and Jinx. And the guy's like, Daryl, were you paying attention to anything? It's just incredible.
Real quick, what's the time? I'm gonna cut it out. What's the time?
I don't know why I didn't plug that in. 2:12. All right.
Yeah, those are very weird Pokemon.
That's
like they've pretty much washed their hand of Jinx, right?
yeah, pretty much.
They don't really like to mention that.
Yeah.
I wonder when the last time Jinx was in a game.
I remember Jinx being used in Gen 3's Elite Four.
Maybe Gen 4?
Well, doesn't Jinx
Gen
gets a
5
baby
was
form, I think, in Gen 4.
Yeah. And then Gen 5 is all its own Pokemon. So, yeah, check a Gen 6 Dex. But Gen 4 was probably the last time. What a weird...
Pokemon Let's Go Jinx.
Oh my god. Yeah, so those are the things I'd like to see. Now, what I think will happen. These are my own predictions, which I'm no authority here. I just like to think about wild predictions. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's good.
What is his name?
Mr. Popo.
Mr.
Right?
Popo and Jinx.
Wow.
So another developer made the Diamond and Pearl remakes. What is it? Shining Diamond and Brilliant Pearl, whatever. I think what's going to happen is we had that happen. Game Freak made Pokemon Legends. I think either the end of this year or the end of next year, though I don't see them waiting that long, unless there's going to be DLC for this game, another team will make Gen 5 remakes. So after this game, whatever the time is, we'll get a Gen 5 remake from someone other than Game Freak just like Gen 4, and then we'll get a Pokemon Legends sequel. I would be surprised if it's not a direct sequel to this current Legends, or even, something very close to a direct sequel. And then after that, which will incorporate, a bunch of new evolutions, and in the Gen 5 remake, maybe even incorporate a couple of the things we saw here. But once they're able to hone that with a sequel, I think we'll get a true Gen 8, which this is technically Gen 8, or 9 rather, but there's literally 8 Pokemon. So whatever. We'll get the true next gen Pokemon, which will be a marriage of the two forms. And then I think it'll be, set in, modern day, whatever Pokemon is set in. But it won't be like Pokemon Legends Arceus, in which case it's ancient China. I think we'll get the actual next gen. That's where the competitive play is going to happen. They're going to merge the two pretty dramatically. I think they're going to do a fully open world, but back to the battle style of the previous games, the previous form of games, and then that will be Pokemon from now on. So I anticipate us having one more traditional style Pokemon game with those Gen 5 remakes. What do you think?
I think the opposite. I think they're going to stick to their guns.
I don't know, man. People have been clamoring for something new.
I guess.
And we're all suckers. We keep buying it because gamers are some of the biggest suckers on this planet. We complain about so much BS, yet you buy Call of Duty every year. I buy Pokemon every freaking year. Because we suck. We can't vote with our wallet because we're losers. I put myself in that category. Like, we need to do better about voting with our wallet. Like, we hate EA, but we're gonna buy Dead Souls, the Dark Souls remake. Not Dark Souls, Dead Space. Anyhow, while we complain, we do often buy the stuff we hate. So maybe they won't listen to us. Maybe the huge clamoring for new Pokemon, better Pokemon, it completely falls on deaf ears, and it's our fault. But I think this game is going to be quite successful. I think it is testing the waters for a new direction. And I think within the next 4 years, we'll get a full transition into whatever new Pokemon will be. Excuse me. We had a lot of these Oreos, man.
Yeah, I think we had too many of these Oreos.
Yeah, we finished 2 of the 3 sleeves.
I ate Fig Newtons by the sleeve.
Yeah, this B word. At the, not my current job, but when I started at my previous job, I brought Fig Newtons, like, just in my lunch bag. I was going to keep them at my desk, and it was like in a box with 3 sleeves. It wasn't one of these. I don't even know where you buy those. They typically come in one of these boxes. These bags, I mean. Anyway, I offered her some, and she scoffed at me. I say her, one of my coworkers. She scoffed at me and said, "No, those are for old people."
What?
They're delicious.
Yeah. They're delicious. And I told her, I said she'd already gone. I don't know. And another thing.
And another
Old man
thing.
yells at Cloud.
Yeah, so that's Pokemon Arceus. We talked about a lot of nonsense.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah,
it was probably one of my new favorites. I think
it was a good episode. I'm glad we had this game. I'm glad I liked it so much. And again,
I'm gonna go down the Jinx rabbit hole now.
Don't, Zach.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start.
You saw
the criticism.
I made you see
the most. The largest section of there's a Wikipedia page just for Jinx, and most of it is controversy and reception. Like, yes. It's like paragraphs.
Yeah, of course.
It's gonna be a good read.
It's let me see a picture of Jinx again.
That's the original design before they changed her to purple.
It's rough.
Yeah,
it's rough, man.
Pretty bad.
Ugh.
Again, the guy was obviously not paying attention to during the meeting on what Pokemon is.
I wonder if you can even get a Jinx anymore.
Well, apparently, I was just looking there, like, the most recent Sword and Shield booster packs for the cards have Jinxes.
Oh yeah, and I forgot that Gen 1 and 2 are on the 3DS eShop. So I forgot about that. It's so dumb that they didn't have Game Boy Advance games on the 3DS eShop.
Oh, yeah, tell me about it.
They have
It's there,
Game
yeah,
Boy,
it's
yes. It's there. Why are you so dumb, Nintendo?
there. Yeah. Come on, Nintendo.
Like, it's free money. Game Boy Advance games. Though, Game Boy Advance games are available on the Wii U. How dumb is that? To play on the gamepad. Correct. Shake my head at the Nintendo. Well,
I bite my thumb at you.
that's gonna be it for this episode of the Game Informer podcast. Thank you for sticking around. If you liked what you heard, maybe come join us on Discord through the $2 tier on Patreon. You can join us on social media as well, Twitter and Instagram. We're much more active on Instagram though. And we'd love to hear about your favorite memories of Pokemon, or just your childhood in general, because that's where it sent us, and that was a fun time, a really fun time to talk about that. And don't forget, folks, to share what you love with who you love.